anyway.
Oh, thank you.
Even though we have approved the financials, the committee has one. It could still be done. I mean, technically, we're. I could just handle. Oh, shit. Oh, nice, Sean.
Yeah.
And,
I mean, Josh is stuck next to me. I get to spread out. You get to stretch out. I get to spread out.
Oh, you were so awesome.
Hey, Ron.
Amazing. I'm going to discuss it.
Thank you.
Random.
Are we almost ready? I'm done. Good morning, everyone. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty, and justice for all.
All right. Agenda. Pine Mountain Club Property Owners Association, Inc. Board of Directors Regular Meeting, Saturday, December 20th, 2025, 10 a.m. in the Condor Room. Members are free to speak on a specific agenda item when the board chair calls for discussion on that item. If you would like to bring up a topic that is not listed on today's agenda, the appropriate time to do so is during the members' open forum. This meeting is being recorded to provide access to members and to aid the recording secretary in preparing the minutes. To ensure a respectful and constructive environment for everyone, we kindly ask that all comments be shared in a courteous manner and remain free of personal, argumentative, and disruptive remarks or gestures. Thank you for helping us maintain a positive and inclusive space for community dialogue. Call to order. Joshua Arman. Mark Bailey.
Yeah.
Candace Bennett.
Here.
Madison Bodorf. That's me. Sean Coulter.
Here.
Nicole Gates. Randall Gates.
Here.
Andrea Schoening.
Yeah.
Douglas Wild.
Here.
Adopt the agenda. Resolve that the agenda for the Board of Directors meeting December 20th, 2025 be adopted.
Second.
Thank you, Sean. Any comments for the agenda, or are we good? Okay, all in favor of the agenda today? Doug, was that? Great, thank you.
All right. Approval of minutes. Motion to approve the draft minutes of the Board of Directors regular open board meeting of November 15th, 2025.
Second.
Thank you. Any questions or comments on last month's open meeting minutes? Okay, all in favor of the minutes? Thank you.
You want me to read the next part? The little line there?
Sure.
All PMC POA governing documents affected by approved resolutions and motions in these minutes have been updated to reflect the approved changes. All right. Consent agenda. Consent agenda opportunity for public comment. All items listed under 4 consent agenda are considered to be routine and non-controversial. Consent items will be considered first and may be approved by one motion if no member of the board wishes to comment or ask questions. If comment or discussion is desired by anyone in the audience, the item may be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered in listed sequence with an opportunity for any member to address the board concerning the item before action is taken.
Is there anything between the application and the consent calendar that needs to be addressed individually? Okay. Do I have a second to approve the consent agenda as a bundle?
Second.
Thank you, Sean. Okay, all in favor of the consent agenda? Great, thank you.
Okay. Officer reports, chair's report.
Thank you everyone for being here today. I appreciate the turnout, both in person and online, for a December holiday board meeting. It's obviously not everyone's plan for the holidays to be here. This is not easy. I want to acknowledge that the board has undertaken a significant amount of work in the last 6 months with the change in staffing and how the board functions and what is on the board's plate to deliver what we do in our meetings every single month. The officers have stepped up and taken a significant amount of work and brought things into kind of the current decade that needed to be modified and are just seeing significant improvements there. Unfortunately, this is a bandwidth that is not sustainable for myself. And the last 6 months, every month, my husband and I have had a conversation around how do we keep this up? It's gotten easier over the months on an organizational standpoint to output, the significant amount of documents and organization that happens every month. Our staff have done a great job in adapting to new changes and new systems and new software, and things have improved. And that has built up bandwidth and the ability to do things more efficiently. But that void gets filled every week, every month. And the load of chairing this board and being on the board has not decreased. And it has put a significant burden on my family and my children. I love this place very, very much, and I care about it very deeply. But I'm not willing to sacrifice my 3 children for it. And that's happening right now. It's very apparent in their behavior, in our dynamic in our home. So this is my resignation from the board. And I'm really sorry to step aside halfway through my term. I don't take that lightly. That's not who I am. But I have to look at our priorities as a family and what it's doing to us. And it's not working. So I will see this team out through the end of 2025. It will be queued up to carry you into January. And I wish only the best for our directors and our staff, our GM and our officers. This is a very talented, capable team, and I don't want you guys to lose the momentum that we have. But it's not something that I can carry right now forward. So, thank you.
General Manager's report.
Okay. First of all, Candace, have to thank you for all your support, you know, helping the staff and myself kind of get through this. This is, you know, I'm still learning as I go here, and but everything you've done is not going to go unrecognized by myself and the staff. We appreciate you, and we'll continue to appreciate what you've done for us, you know, while I've been here. Thank you. Okay. Good morning, everyone. Bob and I have been here almost 7 months now. We've got a lot of things we still need to accomplish. We have a lot of tasks, a lot of areas of improvement, and we have 6 months to get there to finish this year out on a very positive note. I got some admin updates. So great job to the staff on the tree lighting ceremony. That was a big crowd. That was my first time. I've been here 3 years. I've never went to the tree lighting ceremony, and that was huge. So thank you, club and maintenance staff out there. Restaurant and Lounge hosted a 70s and 80s night. I missed the 70s night. I wish I would have came out for that, because I heard that was just a blast. But I did come for the 80s night, and it was great. I mean, I felt like I was in a nightclub again. And it's been a long time since I've done that. But I'm hearing suggestions such as game night. So we're looking into that. George is going to do some diligence on what we can legally do. But game night, doesn't have to be poker. It could be other things. But any great ideas, suggestions, please let me know. Just trying to make it a fun place. The clubhouse has a lot of, there's a lot of opportunity to have some fun and get the community out here and just enjoy. So great job on game night, on the 70s, 80s nights that we had. The entire admin, wait, and kitchen staff, just shout out to you. Great job decorating. And they do a lot of that stuff just on their own time. So it's very, very good job. Awesome. We had our annual all hands employee meeting. That was my first one. That included topics, HR, operations. We also implemented a few things. Employee service recognition and awards, and an employee of the month. Susie Goulart was recognized for 25 years of service. Number one on the most amount of years of service here. So that was a great opportunity for us to recognize her. Eric Haynes in our Greens and Grounds. Everyone calls him Hoops. He was selected as the first employee of the month. So we want to continue doing that and in an effort to recognize our folks and appreciate them. What did I focus on at the all hands meeting? I focused on doing more with less. I focused on initiating process improvements every day. And, be on time, be productive. I mean, just, the basics. Getting on to the operations updates, accounting manager, George Esparza. He's, our in-house IT. He's our DJ and our golf champion. But we started the zero-based budget process together. And it's going very well. Zero-based budgeting is definitely new for me. I guess if you're a startup, I guess that's what you do. But we're making some very good headway. First couple departments still in draft mode, but some very, very good improvements for next year. I'm excited. Can't wait to get through the other departments, and I am pleasantly surprised right now of how good we're some of the initial discussions and adjusting the numbers and looking at headcount, labor, everything. Okay, quick update on the Timco street sweeper. I don't want to keep beating that dead horse, but we had an outstanding invoice for months. I haven't paid it, just still refused to pay it. So I just, after following up and, many follow-ups with the distributor, they acknowledge they're just going to absorb that. So we're not paying that. That's good. That was a win. In Q1 of next year, they're gonna reach back out. They're gonna consider a buyback. But a buyback is only an option if we have a service or an alternate means of maintaining our roads. So I reached out to Kern County Road Supervisor Brandon, I don't know his last name, but he gave me the contractor, Davenport, the contractor that's doing Mil Patero street sweeping for the county. So I'm reaching out to them to see if we can partner up, possibly negotiate a little bit of work. If they're already out here, it seems like it'd be, really advantageous for them to, get a little more business, and we have a service that actually maintains our roads, our streets, if they're willing. So I'll keep you posted on that, but I think we have an opportunity there to possibly recoup, I don't know what percentage of the purchase of the street sweeper, but I think we all know, I mean, if it's got 100 hours on it, it's had 3 repairs, it has a defect, the manufacturer won't respond to any of my inquiries. I can't go through the lemon law route because it's a commercial vehicle. So I'm still looking for relief in any way, any form, fashion, anything at all that I can do to improve what, our current situation with that. Golf course, I have had discussions with the golfers here, several, and they are really interested in what we're doing. And what we're doing is starting off with treatment of the grass and everything that needs to happen through our consultant, Todd. And he is top dog around here. He's taking care of Seven Oaks. So, we're on the right path. The projects are going to include fixing T-Box 5. I think we've mentioned that before, but it is in big need of repair. It's got a retaining wall that's, appears to be very dangerous, at some point. The cart pass is definitely on the target list to improve this winter because we've got brand new carts. So we want to maintain and protect our assets. The Gopher, Operation Gopher Be Gone will begin very soon because I know I'm getting a lot of complaints on that, and me as well. I mean, I hit off a 9 and my ball just stuck right into a gopher pile, and it was unreal. So that didn't help me. I probably lost about 50 yards on that. So that's that. Getting on quickly to some of the other updates as far as cost savings for the membership. So Axos Bank and Sync, we've been talking about that for months. We demanded an analysis. We got it, but we needed further analysis. So we had a second go around with the AVP, Associate Vice President of Accounts, and we walked through every statement, every bank statement to understand fully that, the amount of money that we were going to get credited back was accurate, and it is. But we will get $10,365.26. We'll get that back finally. And so we'll be financially better than whole. We had $10K sunk into Sync on an initial payment. So we're going to get that back and just, a couple $100 more. So So that's good. Next, kudos to the maintenance team. This was a good one. This was my Christmas present right here. We had damage to the roto chopper belt. That device that wasn't aware of, that device is over $350,000. And it does a massive job up there, the green waste. The belt had an issue, and the estimate for the belt repair was $14,000, unbudgeted $14,000 in a repair cost. So I begged them to come up with more other solutions. Can we fix it ourselves? So with a repair kit and internal cost for the labor, because it took quite some time for them to fix it, they fixed it for about $2,000. So we saved 12 grand right there. So great job, Andy Lanos, Andres Montejano, and Bob Wyant. The three of them just getting your heads together and saving us a ton of money on that. So great job, maintenance team. I know you're not on Zoom, but shout out. Lastly, the contract on Cintas. Cintas was when I first started, I never dealt with Cintas ever where I've been. But, it's a service. They provide cleaning supplies and then just everything that they can drill you for. But when I started, they would ship, or we would order, they would ship short, fully invoice us. That's called slamming, I think. And I met with their representative, and I talked about this. But my underlying goal since I started was to reduce that spending, to finally move away from Cintas. So in the fiscal year of 2024, January to December, we spent $8,700 to Cintas. This year, January to December 1st of 2025, we spent $4,900. So we're 44% improved, not 50%, but that was the goal, and that was a good one. So that was a second Christmas present. Lastly, our monthly public safety update. I don't have the data of the violations, the warnings, and all the stuff, but I'll get it. I'll put it on the board recap. But just a shout out to CHP Commander Rudy Alcarez. Hopefully he's on Zoom. I keep inviting him. And his team for their assistance in keeping our community safer through active speed monitoring and issuing warnings and violations. Thanks to them. We'll continue that partnership with them. And hopefully everyone will maintain their speeds on Milpatero. That's all I got. Thanks for your support. Please drive safely, 25 miles per hour throughout our community. Merry Christmas to everyone and have a safe, happy New Year. Thank you.
All right, treasure. Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay. Treasurer's report?
Only since you asked.
Yeah.
Firstly, the news of the day, I understand Chair Bennett's decision to leave. Family has to take a priority. However, her legacy here is invaluable because the structure, up until now, it was word of mouth and someone trying to remember who did what, where, and where it went. And when you look at these board books, it's a massive thing to coordinate on a monthly basis, massive. You got liens, you got complaints, you got bylaws, you got motions, everything. And she is set up. And the SharePoint system's working very well. If control has something, it goes here. It's automatically in the queue for the board. But everything has a place to go and a place to be found. So I applaud your dedication and discipline to creating something that now, again, succession planning here is always difficult because a lot of times it's a black hole. We have no idea how they used to do it and it's not well documented. And what we have now is a system that will take us forward. So thank you, and don't go away too far.
Just down the street from you.
Okay. Treasurer's report, December 25. First, I just want to mention access to financial results. One of the longer collateral damage, issues of collateral damage of the sync and access changes was the website. We had a new website, except it didn't talk to the old website, and things were in one place that weren't in the other. Hopefully, we're very close to getting a new website where everything will be all in one place and integrated. But some of the historic minutes and monthly financial results have temporarily gone missing. Rest assured, they're not lost. They're just not where they should be or easy to access. And thank you to the members of the association who kindly pointed that out. All eyes help. And there's a lot to do here. So this is in motion, and some of the changes, I guess, to get ready for this transition had some of the minutes and the financials that were in the .org site were now kind of truncated, and we only have the .net site presently, but that should be remedied very soon. But basically, anytime you cannot find what you're looking for, ask. Check with Michelle Sandberg at reception is a good place to start, saying, hey, I can't find the minutes. Or where's that 22-page financial package I just been dying to look at in detail? Might be one or two of you out there. And if hopefully the new website will be up soon and all this will just be business as usual. But in the meantime, check with Michelle if you can't find something or you need something printed out. Everything. This is the 22-page report for November. Excruciating detail, believe me. Budget and Finance Committee. The committee was dark for December, therefore a committee review of these financial results has not yet been approved. However, the board subcommittee has gone through them in detail, which includes bank reconciliations and subsidiary schedules, etc. So basically, we cannot, I cannot approve that motion to have those ratified in this session. But I think, the committee may be dark for December, but our financial results are now being generated on a timely basis. And thank you, George Esparza and his whole crew. Good job. It was a big recovery effort. But we're back to normal. Just because the committee was dark for December, we'll take care of that in January with the December numbers. So all is in order. As I said, these financial statements have been reviewed by the Executive Board Subcommittee. And in compliance with bylaw 10.07, review of association accounts has to take place monthly. It used to be quarterly. Some additional information that might be of interest regarding compliance with bylaw 10.08. This is basically, I'm not going to read bylaw here. I'm just going to jump into what it covers.
What's the title of it, though?
10.08
We know the topic.
comes after right of 10.07.
Thank you.
And this is financial planning and administration transparency. This was
Perfect, thank
one
you.
of the bylaws created from 2017 member petition, and that they wanted line item detail for everything in the budget, and that's been taking place ever since, other than we have, again, some missing documents, but they're all prepared appropriately and will be soon available again. But basically, we provide a summary budget and a detailed budget in conjunction with the annual budget process. And as required, the detailed budget addresses each line item on the yearly budget. A lot of people look at the one page and they're quite happy. Of course, even before I was on the board, asked, please, as is allowed, please email me the full detail for everything. So every member has the ability to see everything that's going on. But on a monthly basis, which is where we're temporarily, I guess there's some difficulty in finding these packages. We publish them monthly with year-to-date actual expenditure data for each budget line item, for each division, each amenity. You can't sleep, this could be a remedy. And hopefully all 22 pages of each month's financials will be back online soon. Again, they're misplaced. They're not where they should be, but they exist and they've been done very diligently. When I say it's been reviewed and I present a summary As a treasurer, you can rest assured that the detail exists. There are no shortcuts. Accordingly, I will be withdrawing the motion that the board ratify the November 25th financials this month, just because the Budget and Finance Committee has not weighed in on them yet. However, I will provide a quick overview of what we have and what has been reviewed by the board subcommittee. That isn't confusing enough. We have several committees and they are all there for a purpose. George, is this up? Okay, cool. So quick highlights. Again, this isn't the full review, but the good news is for the month of November, we're basically $66,605 under budget for the month of November. As you can look above, you can see the pluses and minuses that add to that. You go to the far right column, year-to-date variance. You have year-to-date activity, year-to-date budget, year-to-date variance. We're $322,790 better than budget year-to-date. And that's even after almost basically 15,000 of unbudgetable foreclosed lots to property. So again, every month we're heading in the right direction, and James has been doing an excellent job, especially on the zero-based budgeting, sitting with the managers and having them own their numbers. And I think even ahead of time, people being a lot more diligent, and also getting rid of that unbudgeted up to 10,000 unlimited that James approved, removed a lot of things that were never budgeted that were being spent. For those of you who are aware, the prior GM had unlimited authority to approve things under 10,000 with no cap as far as how many, and it created quite havoc for that past year. We had a lot of unbudgeted expenses that showed up as variances. So, cash, always a good topic, right? Operating cash balance, I'd point to what George has on the screen, except I can't. But we have $1,975,000 in the operating fund, and the reserve fund cash balance was $5,189,064, and that is to the penny at November 30th. Some good news. We throw that other one up there, George? Okay, we're up. The reserve study update. In November, if you recall, the board approved a resolution regarding preliminary updates to the June 30th reserve study, which was a mess. It was updated because of the reserve specialists. I can't say enough about the quality of that reserve specialist job, but between George, Bob Wyant, and all the maintenance crews and department managers, they identified a lot of items that were corrected in November on that massive approval of changes to the reserve study. This would be the best reserve study, the most accurate I think we've ever had. Just to take you back very quick, Smart Property is the firm we used to use. They have fabulous software. It's easy to use. It's very functional, and we've returned to Smart Property. And part of the reason for this preliminary update was to give Smart Property the best numbers going in. So what they received was 26 component duplications of 925,750 had to be taken out. They were duplications. 9 components were found to have excessive replacement costs and were reduced by 867,000. All documented line by line. Again, Bob, George, and everyone dug in deeply and questioned every line. 31 components totaling 507,000 were missed and added. The net change in the above 3 groupings reduced the total replacement cost by $1.254 million. So again, a lot of work's gone into it. What you see up, I think you see on the screen, right? Yeah. Is right now our percentage reserved is 90%. And with the discipline and the checks and balances and the gauntlet we have now in place for reserve funds, they will not be used in excess. They're not going to by a sweeper using reserve funds for 200% of what was in the reserves. It wouldn't ever get to the board agenda, period. Same thing with projects. There is a gatekeeper and rules, and we're going to preserve this 90%, use it very frugally. So again, a lot of work went into that, and so thank you. The reserve study is still, with the zero-based budgeting, undergoing rigorous review and updating by department managers. This is part of their annual responsibilities for budgeting, which is they got to own the numbers they put into the reserve study. So it's still going to have another review before we get to the final one that's in the budget report. All members, by the way, will receive a complete copy of the reserve study for your reading after you're done with the 22 pages of financials. And that comes out with the annual budget report. In case you haven't looked at that thick assessment package, it will have every page of the reserve study in detail. And last but not least, am I there? No, I'm almost there, sorry. Annual budget process. This is something that's been brought up and we've talked about it. I know it's been mentioned that the details for amenities and departments is direct costs. I brought up, I think, ages ago that, well, where's the propane for the cafe or the equine insurance for the equestrian center? Unfortunately, when you're digging out of a CIN sink hole, a lot of things have to be deferred because you only have so many people and so much bandwidth. Sorry for the pun.
You're not sorry.
You got me. But again, one of the things I think it's hard for, the membership to understand is how many simultaneous equations are in place for the board. And there's only so much that can be done. And yeah, maybe we could have changed auditors this year, but you have to train new auditors and the bandwidth wasn't there. And I think we're caught up now to where we have the time and the resources to make additional changes that will make the information more useful. What's part of the zero-based budgeting again will be what resources do these departments and amenities use that aren't necessarily direct costs. One thing we talked about the other day was reserves. This department has X number of capital items that have useful life, and then when it exceeds the need to be replaced, then we should know how much the reserves this year were allocated to that department to maintain the department. I think I did the quick number in the equestrian center, it was about $60,000. So we're going to try to take advantage of the space we have now and really do the deep dive. Are there ways to allocate propane use for like a kitchen? HVAC is difficult for the whole clubhouse. Maybe it's just on a square footage, but it's going to be looked at. It's never been forgotten. It's just, you can only do so much. See here. Yeah, and other items would be, I guess, insurance, utilities, and things like that. So I do want to mention the town hall presentation, which I thought was excellent. It doesn't matter, irrespective of an individual's preference for door A, door B, or door C, what Chair Bennett presented was critically important. If we want to not fall into the same sinkholes, potholes, same one, different one of the past. The project reviews that were back in April of 25 pointed out failures in management. Budgets, contracts not being managed, not being approved and open, NTEs not being, we've identified those, and reserve use, which was excessive. And so those checks and balances are in place. But what was presented in the town hall was critical to complement those. Before anything could even be started, you have to know what are the limits of reserve use. What are the limitations of use of budgeted operating funds? And operating funds are not funds for buildings or capital improvements. They're for operations, day-to-day requirements. So, in my opinion, neither the projects or the acquisition, that would have been the Askin building, would have even made it to the board agenda had the members of the community and the directors understood what was presented in that town hall. You just can't go there. Whether it's a budget, operating budget, or a carryover or prior year surplus, it doesn't go into capital additions. If you can't do it with reserves, then you need to do it properly. And I believe that's what you presented in an excellent manner. But this, to me, is the critical thing going forward. We have had invaluable lessons. And it's, the lesson is ours to lose if we don't memorialize and document them, have them as part of director training every year, just more bullet point, maybe fewer PowerPoints. But here's the limits. Anything that's presented, you have to understand day one before we get into trying to figure out how something happened. It has to go through committees beforehand. It has to be approved. Take your time, do it right. And again, I think that was the cornerstone to really what's been learned this year as far as members shouldn't have to worry where their money's going. So my final word was what I just said. The lessons learned from these events and the clear limits presented in the town hall must together reside in institutional memory of the POA as we move forward, or to our detriment if they don't. So that's all.
Would you like to withdraw your motion to ratify November's financials
Well, since you asked.
officially?
Yeah, and again, since we have not had the approval from the committee yet, that'll be in January. I withdraw the motion to ratify the association November financial statement.
I'll second.
Thank you. Everyone in favor of withdrawing motion? Thank you.
All right. Committee minutes acceptance. Board acknowledges receipt of the committee minutes. Want me to read through them?
Sure.
Okay. Bear Committee, December 2025. Budget and Finance, November 2025. Communications, November 2025. Emergency Preparedness, November 2025. EC Minutes, December 2025. Governing Docs, we got August 2025, October 2025, and December 2025. And then the Planning Committee, November 2025.
I want to just add one note here. Governing Docs met twice in October, so their second October minutes will be on January's agenda.
Okay, thank you. All right, EC recommendations. The board received 3 EC project recs and 1 cottage industry permit. And now we're on to the.
We have to approve
Sorry,
those,
sorry.
though. We had, can I have a second to approve our 3 EC projects?
Second.
Thank you, Sean. For the members, we had a deck canopy, solar, and a fence variance. Any questions, directors? Okay, great. All in favor, so,
One second. Is there a approval of a wall by chance on this
I don't believe so, no.
for the variance?
Andrea can speak to this.
No, there was no approval of the wall. There was a discussion and a decision we made about a
Thank you very
recommendation.
much. I'll show you what I'm.
All in favor of the 3 East, sorry.
No, I'm voting in favor.
Oh.
Let me get
I
it.
know, yes, passed.
We're gonna lump in the cottage industry permit. Any issues there? Ryan remodel and construction? Okay, great. All in favor of the 3 permits and the 1 cottage?
I just want to apologize for always biffing that section. I'll do better next time. Okay. Members open forum. The Board of Directors values and encourages member participation. This 25-minute members open forum is for the members to share thoughts, ideas, or concerns related to our community. Members wishing to speak are kindly asked to step up to the microphone, address the board chair, and state their name, tract, and lot number. Each member will have up to 5 minutes to speak. To help keep the space respectful and productive for all, we ask that comments be shared in a courteous manner, free from offensive or disruptive language. While the board might not respond immediately during the forum, all comments will be thoughtfully noted and referred to the appropriate staff or committee for follow-up as needed. Questions that cannot be fully addressed during the meeting and require additional follow-up may be submitted in writing or emailed to the recording secretary, and the question will be responded to within 15 calendar days upon receipt. In addition, the member's name, tract, and lot number must be included. Thank you for your continued engagement and care for our mountain community.
I believe we're in a holding pattern. The mic is not working.
Oh, okay. We'll give it a hot second then. Ben, do you want to try it? Or Sean? Oh, yeah. Don't break it on the way out.
Thanks, Sean. I tell you, it takes a teamster to make it work.
Good morning.
Finn Migan, 3566362, Board of Directors. I am not speaking on behalf of the government docs. As you may know, I've had several meetings with our general manager, James, about how to mostly eliminate the bear problem. Not the bears, but the problem. Working with James and Fish and Wildlife, I must compliment James. Thanks to James, I got an email from Danny Stevenson, CC'd Brian Williams, Brian Peters, both important people at Fish and Wildlife. Danny asked if I had any concerns. I do. I responded with how we can solve the problem. I've not heard back, but not surprising. There's Thursday afternoon. We have a bear committee. I've gone through the last 3 meetings. It appears they're working on preventing and information. That's good. But there's a bear bait. It's a Band-Aid on a bear bite. I'm a retired film producer. Our job is solving problems. We'll solve problems. After talking to Fish and Wildlife, I realized we have a communication problem and an enforcement problem. They agreed that there are major problems. James and I came up with a 4-phase plan. Let's look at phase 1, communication. On Fish and Wildlife's website, there's no phone number. You can file what they call a VRR report if you can find where to file it. If you don't expect a reply, you probably won't get it. Solution to have our patrol department take the report and file the report, build a relationship with a biologist and a warden to solve the problems together. I presented the idea to the board. The only comment I got was from the chair. You'd like it, but, quote, we have been told they only want reports from the victim. That's true, or it was true. After 2 phone calls, problem solved. Fish and Wildlife will now accept reports from patrol. Not only do they accept the reports from patrol, but they like the concept. I think we'll be a testing ground for other POAs. We need a procedure for patrol. Fish and Wildlife had a few requirements, nothing unreasonable, and I wrote it. Our GM has approved it. It involves patrol, so it has been run by head of patrol. Patrice had no problem and thought it was a good idea. I sent it to the board of directors, and what happened next? Oh, nothing. CCNR 3.1 state the board shall provide for the general welfare of the residents. I can tell you firsthand, it is not for my welfare to have bears in my house. I bet you think, oh, you can't control the bears. Not true. There are things that can be done to eliminate most of the problems. Phase 1. Let's make it easy for the members to report an incident. Fish and Wildlife get money allocated based on how big the problem is. They can't solve the problem if they don't know if the problem exists, and therefore they don't have money. Reporting is crucial. I've had concerns about legal. Sure, you can be sued for eating a ham sandwich, but let's put my risk management hat on. What is a bigger risk? Providing a service that makes it easy to report a bear incident or do nothing. The bigger risk is clearly do nothing. Procedure with Center Fish and Wildlife, they normally don't review outside procedures. I'm sure they would have commented on it if they had a problem. But as I said, I got an email from Stevenson, and he did not raise any questions. Conclusion, they are accepting patrol can write the report. I can't believe it took only 2 weeks to get Fish and Wildlife to change their SOP, and it's taken a month to get the board to approve a procedure. Wonder why it's so hard to get the board to approve a single procedure. It should be a no-brainer. A procedure only requires one director to sign off on it. We're not talking about CCNRs, bylaws, or even a rule. This is a simple internal procedure. You can approve this today. It probably would take less time than my speech. Here's my official question. Why was the procedure not on the agenda? Did my procedure go to all the directors? Did all directors have a say in if it should be on the agenda? And when, number 4, when will you approve it? Number 5, if you do not approve it, why? Please expedite your report. I would like to report to Fish and Wildlife when this will happen. Thank you.
Thank you, Finn. Just so you're aware, Finn, it's in the process of going through all the normal steps we take for any procedure changes, any bylaw changes. It needs to be stamped by governing docs. It needs to be stamped by the Bear Committee. We've gotten a lot of flack as a board when I've missed something and it doesn't go through the proper channels. We're following procedure. It needs to go through all of these steps, be buttoned up at these steps. Hold on, please. When it's ready and finished, then it is presented for the board agenda. We're not there yet. That's the timing that we exist here. In the sequence of our meetings, in checking with legal and insurance, making sure we're buttoned up, in committees, governing docs, Bear Committee weighing in on this, you would feel the exact same way if another committee wanted to push through a policy change or proposal and didn't take it to governing docs. I know you know the procedures here and how we do things, and we're following them.
May I talk?
2 seconds, very quickly,
2 seconds.
because you've taken 5 minutes.
Okay, no. I took it to government docs. Okay? I went to the Bear Committee 3 times, and they never discussed it with me. There is no, please state what rule we have that say I have to get the approval of the Bear Committee and government docs.
It just needs to be in a finished form.
There is no such rule.
It doesn't need a rule. It needs to be in a finished form where the board could approve something. It's not fully checked off yet. It's still in the process. It hasn't died, but it's not going to work on the timeline you would like it to work on. Yes, Madison.
I just wanted to speak to, the Bear Committee has not in any official capacity received your plan. And upon trying to discuss it in the last meeting, you were very upset that we were discussing it. So we don't actually, as a committee, have access to your plan, just to confirm that.
Again, we're not going to get into the weeds here today. It is in process. It is not done, but it's going to follow procedure.
Carolyn Gilbert, track 3508530. First of all, Candace, I'm so sorry that you're stepping down. The decision you had to make between family and work is always difficult, and I honor your decision for family first. I've always believed that. And hopefully, when time allows, you'll come back, because I think you were doing good. What I have is, I have a few items I would like to address, and I'll make them as brief as possible. It should only take about 3 minutes. I did time it. First, in response to Director Arman's last comment regarding propane fire pits, saying we can't live in fear, I would like to say that I don't live in fear. I do live with respect to the forest. However, if all the people, guests, members, etc., that came up here had the experience that Director Arman had with fire and everything else that you shared with us, it wouldn't be an issue anywhere, including here. However, we're lucky if 1% of the people here have the depth of experience that Director Arman has. Second, CERT and EP had a town hall that was well attended by the members. What I noticed was a lack of support from the board. We did, however, have one director show up about 1/3 of the way through the town hall, made sure to shake the hands of the EP, CERT, and others doing the presentation. The director stayed about 15 minutes, give or take, and left. That was the extent of what I saw as the board's support. Third, the town hall presentation by Chair Bennett on the clubhouse was excellent. Excellent information, and I'm glad you didn't do a Q&A, as you would have never gotten through all of the information you wanted us to have. Lastly, I am sure I am not the only member, employee tired of hearing about and or reading Director Bailey's Facebook posts. There is a continual abuse of communication to the members in general with unsubstantiated evidence. In fairness to everyone accused by Director Bailey, I challenge Director Bailey on behalf of the members to present at the executive board meeting the alleged evidence so that the board of directors, members, and employees can face their accused and then decide what action should be taken regarding these matters. If Director Bailey chooses not to present evidence, then the members and employees should ignore his posts and or comments. I would like to see our current board continue doing their hard work, and I would request that our members continue to support the board. Thank you.
Thank you, Carolyn.
Quick rebuttal, please.
Yes, Mark.
I have indeed submitted to the directors in executive all the evidence, and yes, you are in them. Thank you.
That's not true. We're not getting into it. We're not.
The one thing that I can honestly say Director Bailey did state was that, yes, I did purchase postage for his recall, and I would do it again. Why? Because the 3 times he has taken his oath, he chooses to ignore his oath and his confidentiality, et cetera, et cetera. I am done. No more rebuttals, please.
Thank you. Moving on.
Good morning, Lauren Valla, 3405030. Couple thoughts. One, Candace, you will be missed. I understand this was not easy for you, so you will be missed. You were appreciated. James, thank you so much for reporting all the great stuff that the POA has done over the holidays and the disco dance, and it's great. And in addition, just so board and members are aware, our village has also had so many great activities this month with the Christmas show. And I know we're separate, but we're not separate. And I'd like to just continually remind members and the board that our village is made up of members. Those most of those merchants, if not all, are members. And it's really the synergy that comes together with POA events and village events that makes this community great, and that helps, we need to help that village thrive so that it continues to be there. So, kudos to POA for putting on those events, and kudos to the village. It looks amazing over there, the lights, they have done such a great job. Okay, very importantly, I noticed that there's no old business, and I have an old business question, so I don't know if it belongs here, but let me go for it. I'm in the PMC Writers Group, and last board meeting, which I was not able to attend live, so therefore I wasn't able to ask it there, but there was a request for the PMC Writers Group to hold their monthly meeting at the Pavilion. Director Bailey, without giving reason, chose to table that decision. I don't see that coming up again for discussion. I'm interested to know if anything has been made. Have any progress been made on that? And also, it seems a little, again, I wasn't at the last meeting, but that Director Bailey could just say, table it with no reason seems somewhat unfair to that group, of which I'm a member. And it's a really active group, and we write skits that are being performed here for the good of the community.
You give me a panic for a second. I was like, oh my goodness, it's not back on the agenda.
I got it.
It's our second motion today. It'll follow after the resolutions.
Okay, great. Yeah, thank you.
Hello, Alicia Tabuada Canton, B507-130 and B507-131. Many things changed since I wrote my little piece here. My concern is on governance and accountability and transparency. The initial resolution that was passed by the board in 6/2025 was clear language. After that, the language was changed in an advisory vote that was never discussed in open meeting, in town hall meetings that were never discussed in open meetings, violating procedures. That's on one point. The other issue is the framework of $700,000 deception that this community has gone through. So far, we have the report of Randall Gates that provided a narrative of what happened, but we don't have any receipts. We don't have any contracts, no invoices. We don't have the totality of the hard numbers. The numbers are missing. We have partial. I'm still waiting for information that I requested to Todd Grayson on the financial numbers of this PMC. That's 1 year and a half ago. Not given, paid and not given. So we keep violating procedures. We keep violating bylaws, in this case 1008. Randall presents himself as this well-mannered expert and with good intentions, but that bylaw has been violated for 323 days. Nobody here knows how to update the website on those numbers to honor the bylaws of the association. This is appalling. And I go back into not the narrative, not Randall's story, but actual numbers, where I can prove and verify what you are saying. Well, what is that zero budget? Who gets invited to the party to see those numbers? So far, it's a subcommittee of a subcommittee. Who opens the door to that door, that secret place where the numbers are being revised. I want to see the numbers. I'm glad you withdraw the motion of the audited, but the truth is that you have done a 180 in many issues. One of the 180 was Griffin Group. You said very clearly that you were not confident on this kind of companies. Very well said then. All of a sudden, you changed your mind. You approved the Griffin Group. And I remember you saying, we don't want to overwork George. That's how much your fiscal responsibility goes. Protecting an employee from doing his job. So there is a big difference between the narrative and the actions. And this community has reflexes and immunity. And we see two members, new members here, because of those reflexes, because of the recall. We are not going to sit and see while you're drawing numbers. We're going to get you accountable for all the things that you don't do. And please, if you're thinking you're doing a thankless job, please resign.
Good morning. Appreciate you allowing me to speak this morning. I'm going to speak from the top of my heart. I have not prepared a statement. I want this team to reflect on this year. 2025 has been a tumultuous year. We have new board members that joined us this year. The year started out with a fire that destroyed billions of properties, lives. We exist in this community with an existential threat of our livelihood, our homes. On Thursday night, we had a call for a chimney fire. Unfortunately, I was in my bathtub when that happened, and I came to realize how unprepared I was to evacuate on the spur of the moment. The towel on, 20 minutes after the firefighters got there, I realized they had it under control, but just an awareness for everybody. In the middle of the night, have a go bag ready to go. The worst case scenario was sitting in a tub, enjoying a relaxing evening, and then guess what? So I share that with you from the bottom of my heart. James, thank you for taking care of the dead trees. Josh, Doug, thank you for stepping in when it was a very difficult time this year to step in. Candace, thank you for stepping up as our new board chair. You've done an awesome job. There's a few things I'll ask in the future from James about roadway safety. Let's get some signs up to slow people down. People are still hauling ass down the roads. Not everybody, I'll be granted, but it just takes one to hit a kid, and that existential threat is for that child, for that parent that loses a child. Personally, I have had close friends darting in traffic that died. This is something that I care about deeply, okay? Let's get some signs up. This year, I donated 500 white daffodils to the community, and I'd be happy to get every one of this board member 50 daffodils each. No contingencies for your appreciation to plant these white daffodils to show a community of love, caring. Not a lot of Debbie Downers here, but let's do some safety actions to improve the roadway safety. Small steps. Let's talk to our neighbors. Let's slow down. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Paul.
Hi, good morning. Candace, first I want to say to you.
Sorry, just for our notes, name and lot.
Oh, yes, I'm sorry. I'm Leslie Branda, 3567118.
Thank you.
Candace, you'll be missed, but I know you'll be around. You care too much. And I spent my life on committees and wanting to resign many times. And I don't take board positions anymore because it's just so much work. But I do take my role here in this community as membership oversight. I take it seriously, but I also just do it for the community that I like. Okay, Beast, so first I'm sorry you're leaving actually because you have gotten a lot done for us. This whole team has come together and done quite a lot of things. There's still so much more. And I can't, I wanted to preface something here, first that I'm speaking as a member, but I only want to talk about the documents that weren't online. I'm not talking about the financials, the minutes, and the resolutions. Now, I think we've been getting them on email, so that's great. But the minutes are really important. And so I finally did, and I'm sorry I say finally, I meant, I think Tuesday I started asking for them because I needed to, I found a few things on two that I were given. So I do need to have the time to be able to review all of these meeting minutes from 2005, January and onward. I think some are now online, but we're still waiting for others. Because I've just noticed, and it's so much to keep track of, so this is no reflection on the secretary or any of you, but I just have corrections to note on minutes. And so I wanted to reserve that right to do that. I couldn't do it today. I did have something I wanted to maybe mention, but if I do have to come up about it and talk about it, I won't have resolution numbers and I won't have dates or specifics because I don't have time to read the minute meetings that I just did get. So in the future, I hope it never comes that we don't have compliance to our membership. I want to say one very important thing that I feel very strongly about. No one will ever change my mind about this. None of us here exist in an organization together without all of us, the membership. We are collaboratively the association, and you guys all work for us, and we thank you.
Thank you, Leslie.
James Ald, 3705, 365. This is just a quick question. I attended the town hall meeting on December 4th, led by our esteemed chairman. And then I got an email update on December 11th by email on the improvements to the building or other options. And option A, I think everybody's aware of, should be aware of option A, B, and C. And I just had a quick update or understanding or clarification between the meeting on the December 4th that you led and said there would be no additional assessment. It was never mentioned. Let me just finish and I'll let you clarify. That's what I want. Obviously, there's a clarification. I'm not talking about a special assessment. That's, I'm talking about from the reserves. And I think option A would be from reserves. And then special assessments were never mentioned. They were only mentioned in option B, $120 more as a special assessment. And then a week later, option A says with minimal assessment. So I'm not sure what the difference between minimal assessment is on option A and option B, $120. Like, is minimal more than 120? Is it less or is it 0?
Happy to clarify.
So that's just the clarification I wanted to get because I've lived here 10 years and the big discussion from the previous boards has been transparency, honesty, fiscal responsibility, and none of you, but some of these people in the past have failed miserably. But anyway, I just wanted a clarification on that because the first presentation was no special assessment. And then it's contained in a later update that there will be or could be.
So here's where it originates is in June, in the resolution in June, to have a reserves only, no special assessments, a middle ground under the 5% cap the board can approve, and then a member vote. That was not a fully educated, informed resolution that I made in June. Because the understanding that I had from my prior year on the board was not a correct understanding of how our reserves work and how you can approve large projects. So the correction that I had to present in our town hall is can't promise a reserve only option because you don't approve in a lump bundle a project. The point of that presentation is to make sure everyone understands every single item, reserve item or a new item that wants to be added, has to be individually approved by the board and that current board. So there's no way to say we're going to approve a reserve only scenario and then proceed. It has to be voted each individual piece, and the board has to decide at that time, okay, is this a reserve item? Does it land within its allotted amount, or is there a need to extend what it's covering? That extension is not usually appropriate to lump into reserves. And we have done that in the past. And that was my incorrect understanding of how we were using reserves to say a reserve only scenario. That's not correct. So I was wrong in that sense in June of what I had presented in my resolution. We can't promise that. So the correction in the 2 town halls, so it was on the 3rd as well, included and then reiterated again in the emails that went out is, and we'll address this more in our resolution, there is every opportunity for a board to decide with each piece, do we want to stick to reserves? That's the board's purview entirely. For example, doing our roof, that has to be a single resolution with the exact amount we're going to spend on the roof and what's allocated in reserves. The board can decide at that time, okay, do we stay in that current footprint or do we want to extend out over the golf course patio? That extension over the patio would be an additional special assessment. It would not fall into reserves. You can't make that determination in advance for the board. Each consideration like that has to be discussed and addressed in the moment in that resolution. Does that clarify it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
You did a great job of explaining that. I just wish it had been expanded a little bit more in that last presentation to say there could be a special assessment. And just one more quick, is the reserve like, is it 375,000 or something that would be allotted 1 year for improvements? Or I'm just trying to pull from my memory. It could be
reserves have their own allotment. Each item that lasts longer than a year, it has its amount, its value, and that's allocated in reserves. When it reaches the end of its useful life, then you have the money in your reserves to replace it. If you want to add anything or expand anything that is not allocated in reserves, that is considered a special assessment. And there are 2 tiers of special assessments. There's an amount that the board can vote on at a board level and decide on. Do we want to spend an extra $50,000 to extend the roof line? That's within the board's purview to decide and vote on in open session. It does not require a member vote. But if they do enough of those projects throughout the year, they have to watch the 5% cap. If the board were to spend more than that 5%, which right now is roughly $350,000, anything over that requires a member vote. And it doesn't matter the size. It could be, okay, we've bought a building for, let's say, $325,000. That could be within the board's purview that year. But we also want to add in $50,000 to a roof. Well, now you're at 375. That $50,000 special assessment, even though it might be small as an individual piece, has tipped you over that threshold and now requires a member vote.
Okay, that makes sense. Thanks.
Okay. Thank you, Jim.
Good job, guys.
Appreciate you.
Girls.
Thank you. Okay. Sure. I just want us to keep mindful on time. Is it short?
It's reasonably short.
Okay.
And I'm a good liar. No, I first of all just want to say how much I appreciate your work, and that I hope and I pray that the next person who takes your role has that same vision and integrity and energy you have had for our association and continues your good work. I'm on the Governing Docs Committee. I spend a lot of time thinking about legal issues, and I want to speak to one legal issue, but not as the Governing Docs Chair. I want to speak about volunteerism. A volunteer has a responsibility to be civil and to respect our other volunteers. But we also have First Amendment rights. There tends to be a feeling, well, let me say this, to be a volunteer in our association, you have to have somewhat thick skin because a lot of stuff comes up. People attack us, people attack you, and you have to say, do I really care? Is my ego involved? There tends to be a feeling that we can extract justice from past or current volunteers at whatever level they volunteer. We act like we can actually recover something from them if someone decided that they did something that cost the association and that some of them deem as getting justice for that volunteer's actions. The law protects volunteers who are generally trying to do their job. It's called the business judgment rule, and it exists specifically to shield people from being sued over every decision that they did that didn't work out perfectly. You can't successfully sue a board or committee member just because they made a bad call. Courts recognize these unpaid volunteers doing their best as long as they acted in good faith, did some basic homework, and generally believed they were helping the PMC-POA. Even if they were dead wrong, they're still protected. And it protects all of us equally, whether we accuse the person or we're the accuser. Why? Because without these protections, nobody would volunteer. We'd have no one willing to serve. Now, if someone's stealing money or acting purely for personal gain, that's different. But honest mistakes, poor judgment, a decision that seemed reasonable at the time that didn't pan out, the statutes are designed to protect us. And we still have options. Everybody serves at the discretion of the board. You can remove a member who's not doing their job or whatever. And we also have the recall process if we need to get rid of a board member. Whenever we hear the idea of grievance upon or about prosecuting volunteers, even if they're completely unsubstantiated for past decisions, understand this. The law assumes that they were doing their best unless you can prove otherwise. And that is very expensive to prove otherwise. And that's when generally the board has to decide to fish or cut bait. It is upon the accuser to provide substantiated evidence that they believe fraud, self-dealing, or willful negligence was committed, not just that you disagreed with what they did. And there also has to be substantiated damage. You can't just say, well, this is a problem and I'm feeling pissed off about it, excuse me. But there's no damage because you have to recover damages. I think anybody who's in the law knows that. Our civil codes protect PMC-POA volunteers who are trying to get something done. It does not punish them. As volunteers, I encourage you to not engage in discussions that are just opinion. I encourage you to note it. If it's important, maybe start to deal with it, but use the official channels. Get up here and talk to the board. Make it public so that these people know that you have an opinion too and that you're willing to use the official channels. I would like to ask one more question. Director Bailey indicated that he had presented evidence to the board. Has he presented that evidence?
That's for executive session.
So you aren't going to confirm whether or not he actually presented the evidence.
It's an active executive session topic right now. No.
Thank you.
We good? Yes.
Okay, no.
Got stuff to handle.
Yes.
Thank you all for your comments this morning.
Yes, thank you. We have no old business, and now we're on to new business. Director Randall Gates, please.
Okay. Director Randall Gates moved the adoption of the following resolution. Resolution 01/12/2025, Fraser Mountain Internet Equipment Hosting Agreement.
Do I have a second? Oh, sorry. Do you read the whole thing first?
You don't have, you didn't have to read the
I didn't say as submitted. I was going to read it because it
Go
was
ahead.
short and James did all the work.
Sorry, my brain's lapsing.
That's okay. I mean, I can get, I haven't,
So we don't need a second as of right now.
Not
just
yet.
going to read the
sorry.
preamble here. And if you've noticed, we're very environmentally conscious. We're saving as many whereases as possible.
Only because Randall has to say the most resolution.
Yeah, that was kind of a deal breaker.
Mhm.
Okay. Regarding Fraser Mountain Internet Equipment Hosting, whereas Fraser Mountain Internet is the legal entity hereto referred to as FMI. FMI leases 2 spaces for the wireless network on PMC POA property on a verbal agreement, several unknown years ago. The 2 locations housing FMI equipment are the PMC POA maintenance building and on a small tower adjacent to the RV park, and does not present any impact to PMC POA property, services, or amenities. FMI agrees to pay PMC POA $1,250 a month for the lease of 2 spaces. The agreement is for a 1-year term. At the end of the 1-year term, this agreement can be renewed within 90 days of end of term. Renewal will be based on a mutually agreed upon rate unless otherwise terminated by either party with at least 60 days prior notice. Therefore, be it resolved that, I'm trying to think my motion here. I move that the board approve resolution 1/12/2025, approving the Fraser Mountain Park Internet Equipment Hosting Agreement.
Second.
And we just give, like our usual form for contracts, we give James the authority to sign. And if he's not available, the board chair would sign the contract.
Correct.
And Sean seconded it.
And I'd like to defer to James quickly on this because it's not just the revenue, he's also reduced costs to the association for backup service that wasn't needed. I believe it was $3,000 a year, James?
Yeah, so the partnership with FMI now, officially, contracted, just replaced what was going on in the past. It was a verbal agreement. At the same time, I discovered that we were being billed annually for $3,000 for FMI as a backup service, which we've never used. So discontinued that backup service. Have this contract in place. It was a great collaboration with Mark Ongaro and his partners, which I didn't meet, but he's got a couple partners. But this is great. This is great for the association. I think it's great for FMI. Now we have, an official process to be able to manage this contract going forward. And it did save us some money, and it did, fortunately, it did, we did gain some revenue out of it. So it was really good. Thank you, FMI out there, Mark, and team out there. Thank you.
Any questions or comments from directors? Okay. Any member questions or comments around our internet hosting agreement? Okay. All in favor of our contract with FMI? Great, thank you.
And Director Gates again.
Okay, since you asked. There it is, sorry. Yes, and I'm going to read this one again because I think it's important. I, Director Randall Gates, move the adoption of the following resolution. Resolution number 2/12/2025 to amend bylaws 1401 and 1402, effective date and adoption amendment. Effective date and adoption and amendment. Whereas Article 14 of PMC POA bylaws addresses the effective date of any new bylaw or amendment to existing bylaws. Article 14 allows the board to change the PMC bylaws effective immediately upon a majority of vote of of a quorum of directors and prior to any opportunity for PMCPOA member ratification or rejection. Under the present policy, the board may initiate, amend, or remove a bylaw effective immediately and up to as much as 12 months before the PMCPOA membership has an opportunity to ratify or reject the changes. The present policy is highly unusual and problematic because it allows changes to the bylaw to be effective prior to a future date where the changes are subject to ratification or rejection. Therefore, be it resolved that the PMC Board of Directors approve resolution number 212, 2025, amending bylaws 1401 and 1402.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Sean. Do you want to add
Just
anything?
a quick commentary here. Let's just say and again, we've been using this bylaw this year because we have some things that we want to correct real time. But in the past, it's caused some problems. And if you think about it, in August, a board could approve a bylaw that is legally effective until June. And then all of a sudden, if the members don't approve it, meaning how many they have to go through, it isn't effective. I mean, you need to wait, and this came up when we were interviewing legal firms. It's highly unusual. It should only be effective once the members approve it and there is notification to the membership that this is now an approved bylaw. So this is part of what is being done to keep things on track and not have changes mid-year that are effective that could maybe take us down the wrong road. I'm thinking future directors, this needs to be, in my opinion, needs to be locked down. If it needs to be done, do it right, get the members buy-in, and then it's effective. So that's my spiel.
Any other comments from directors? Yes, Mark, we'll just go around the room.
I actually asked Director Gates this morning, and my conclusion is if only the previous boards had such a policy in place, we would have been in a much better position right now. I agree. Thank you.
Yes. Anything? Sean?
Yeah, I mean, we're giving back the power to the people with this type of amendment, this resolution. This board is not, and any board cannot be the rule of law for 12 months and then change it back. And that's exactly what this is addressing, I feel. So for me, it's a no-brainer. And congratulations to the membership for having a director like Gates and a chair like Candace, that we can come up with these solutions that make it better for the people and for our membership. So thank you, guys.
I need to point out one unusual thing for a bylaw change. This won't be effective until members ratify June 20th of 2026. So we do have some cleanup. We are going to still try to get things changed before this door closes. And then in the future, anything new, we'll have to get in line. But we still have corrections like this bylaw and things that we need to close the door on. So this one, even if approved by the board right now, it'll be as though the new policy requires it. Won't actually be effective until the members ratify.
Just to speak to that, what's on the radar for the spring, like maybe paired with our spring new member welcome and orientation, is a kind of a bylaw town hall, something where we can sit down with the membership and walk through what will be on the June 2026 agenda in terms of bylaws to ratify, so that there's a good understanding of what is being voted for, and people know clearly, what you're being asked to vote on in June, since there will be a number of bylaw changes. So that's on the radar to have a standalone event for that topic. Anything else on this side of the room from directors surrounding this resolution? Okay. Any member feedback? Come on up.
Ron Freeman, same number as Lauren Vella.
Okay.
Randall, I applaud you on the spirit of this resolution, but I have a question, which when I read what was struck out, it mentions in there that it has to be put on the agenda of the upcoming board meeting, which narrows your time frame down. That's struck out, and this one says, oh, we can just have a specified date of when we want to have a discussion about it. There's no 30-day or 60-day restriction. You could literally say, let's have this vote, special meeting 10 months from now. I think it needs to be more restrictive rather than less restrictive. And I think that it should require a time frame in which you have to act on what was mentioned or what bylaw changes want to be made. That's all.
Let me just, this was, it went through governing docs, and that was one of their suggestions. I can't think of a circumstance why something the board approved wouldn't just be on the ballot in June, or why it would be delayed further. I mean, basically, if there was a special meeting of the members in the middle of the year, you could approve, they could approve a bylaw change at the time. So to be honest, that was an addition from governing docs committee, and I don't see it as a problem.
It
It would be an unusual
It
circumstance.
seems to me that it allows you to extend the time frame rather than keeping the time frame as a 30-day minimum. The way it's written now, which I agree with what you're recommending, how it be changed, it says that if you do make a change, it has to be put on the agenda of the next board meeting. The way you're recommending that it be changed, it does not say that. It said whenever we decide to have a meeting to discuss it. But it doesn't give you a time restriction on when that would be. You could theoretically say, we want to do it 11 months from now. I'm not saying that anyone would. I'm just saying the possibility exists, whereas the old one was more restrictive and it had to be brought to open member meeting within 30 days. This new one doesn't say that you have to do that.
Trying to track here, the prior, the 1401 and 2 that are being amended didn't require a member meeting to be effective, only to be ratified. At an annual member meeting is differentiated from a board meeting.
I understand what you're saying, Randall, but it says right here in what is being struck out, that it says that it will be placed on the agenda of the next board meeting, which obviously would be within 30 days' time. You're not saying that in the new one. You're saying it doesn't have to be brought on unless we have a special meeting for it, a special board meeting for it. That is the way I read this. And correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, so hold on. I'm trying to track here as well.
The third line from the bottom, it's struck out there, Candace.
Yeah, I'm reading it. The bylaw, there's two different things. There is a separate section for dealing with members bringing bylaws to the association. That runs a little bit of a different track. For a bylaw to kind of follow the board procedure, it has to come to the board to vote on. Once it's voted on by the board, it basically goes into a queue until the next annual member meeting when you have a paper ballot for the election.
I understand that. I totally get what you're saying, but that's not how this reads. It says, if you chose to do that, it still has to be placed on the agenda of the next board meeting. That's the third line from the bottom says, automatically be placed on the agenda for the next scheduled meeting of the members for ratification by the vote of assent of a majority of quorum. That's the next meeting. That's within 30 days. Is that not what it says?
No.
Oh. No. And that's been strucken out. That's what's being removed.
I know.
But that's
my
challenging.
point.
Yeah.
So
With lack of clarification, the meeting of the members is when we're voting annually in June.
as opposed
What
to
I'm hearing you
the
say
next
is
board meeting.
Precisely.
Okay,
It would say open board meeting.
okay.
Yeah, so there's just a,
Then I stand corrected on what that time frame currently exists. It's not a 30-day
correct.
requirement. It's not the next one.
Yeah, so I think
apologize
it was to
for I
eliminate a
misunderstood
last
that.
minute, it was to eliminate a last minute change that didn't have enough time prior to the
Perfect.
annual voting.
Thank you for clarifying that, Nicole.
Just for a little backstory to that, what we'll see, the board will see in the coming year with the timeline of locking in the ballot and having the new inspector of elections deal with that, the last board meeting for a bylaw to be voted on to land in the queue for that coming year's member ratification is March. So there's a separate kind of election ballot timeline that plays into changing or amending any bylaws for that coming year's member ratification. Whew, okay. Ben.
Finn Morgan, same number as last time. I have to say I'm amazed. Earlier today, I was criticized for not going to the Bear Committee and going to government docs. I went to both committees, but I was still criticized for not going.
Point of order.
Then,
Hold on, just,
One minute, but
Excuse
it
me.
has nothing to do with this particular.
yeah, it does.
let him
It
finish.
does.
Let him finish.
Okay.
It does, because why did this not go to government docs?
It did.
It didn't.
In the last session, and Mark Greco drafted the comments that I incorporated into this final.
Not the way
Okay.
it's drafted.
Pardon?
Not the way it's drafted.
Exactly the way it's drafted.
Oh, sure.
It did come from the committee.
It did.
Any final comments before we vote on bylaws 1401 and 02?
First off, I would like to say thank you for all your effort to do the cleanup. You mentioned making sure what changes this board is doing, moving it forward, archiving it, so that future boards are not doing this. It's not going to be perfect. It's not going to be timely. It's a lot of work. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, all in favor of approving resolution to amend? Okay. I'll cut my spiel short, my sentence. All in favor, thank you. My note here.
Okay, thank you. Director Bennett.
Get my notes here. We're going to amend the resolution to give results of our vote. Okay. I, Director Bennett, move the adoption of the following resolution. And I will note where I'm inserting amended information. Resolution 03-12-2025, acknowledgement of Clubhouse and Pavilion directional advisory vote. Whereas I would like to acknowledge that the general options presented in Resolution 03-06-2125 were misinformed and inappropriate to bind the board with broad stroke restrictions. With further education and best practice understanding of how reserve funds and any new items via special assessments need to be individually approved by the board only when ready to be executed on. And the town hall events on November 23rd and December 3rd, 2025 were done to update membership on this same understanding of procedure and limitations around repairing and updating the clubhouse and pavilion. And the members were asked to weigh in via the options below on how they prefer the board to pursue taking care of our facilities, with the understanding that each item, reserve or new, needs to be individually approved in open session. Option A, reserve item replacements and essential improvements. Option B, strategic upgrades within board authority, the 5%, under 5% cap. Option C, extensive remodel, which requires a binding member vote. Therefore, resolved that the PMC POA Board of Directors accept the advisory vote results of December 12, 2025 for Resolution 03-12-2025, acknowledgement of Clubhouse and Pavilion directional advisory vote, with 548 participants representing 18.87% of the membership, and 277 in favor of option A, 227 in favor of option B, and 44 in favor of option C. And further resolve that this feedback from the membership will be used as the cornerstone for any board decisions going forward regarding the level and cost of repairs and updates made to the clubhouse and pavilion facilities. Do I have a second? Okay. I got Randall, sorry, Josh. I'm happy to run through detailed numbers here and we can discuss.
Several of us didn't hear the numbers to plug in, so I was just wondering if you would be kind enough to repeat them, please.
We'll go through these again. And it'll also be in the recap email as well. So we'll start with the high level numbers and we'll give a little feedback on the data that came in from the results. So total valid votes, there were 548 valid participants. This is a fantastic turnout.
Yeah.
We had, just for context, we had a total of 417 participants in the 2024 member survey. So this is a really great snapshot of our community participation. Thank you to Nicole and the planning committee for sifting through the data from SurveyMonkey. A helpful piece of information, just on a statistical criteria perspective. Based on 2,904 lots, an adequate sample size for a survey with typical statistical parameters, you'd want a 95% confidence level and a 5% margin of error. That number is approximately 341 to 384 participants. So we have a great turnout to have confidence in the position of the membership with 548 participants in our survey. The leading decision was option A with a total of 277 votes. That represents 50.55% of the participants. Option B had 227 votes, and that's 41.42% of the participation. And then option C had 44, and that's 8.03%. There was, just again, so membership is aware, the initial review of the entries in SurveyMonkey and in planning, there were 107 that did not come back as valid, and various reasons there. There were duplicates. I think because the access to the survey is kind of open entry, SurveyMonkey is not going to block you for doing a second attempt. I think people kind of forgot if they put their number in or not, so had to vet for duplicates. There were also entries where the member ID number did not match anything in the system, so those were also removed and factored in. There was also a percentage of participants where the member ID matched and the initials were off. So that was a manual review to go in and look at, okay, is it just operator error? Can we determine, whether it's a name on title or a trust on title, does that work? So where, as much as possible, if it was understandable who was voting and it matched their information, that vote was counted. We didn't want to be excluding anyone. And then there were a few of them where the ID did not match and the initials were nowhere close. So again, those were not factored into this. So this was, again, a great participation, and this is invaluable information for the board moving forward. If you look at those who supported B and C and who are in that vote saying that they are willing to pay a higher amount each year to have improvements, that's 49%. And then you have 50% saying, please stay very close to reserves only. And if we don't have to be spending any extra money, don't spend it. So we're in a 50-50 scenario. But I think that's valuable information for the board to be looking at. and using when they make each decision. And again, this is why you want to be determining things item by item, because you will need to weigh in that resolution, okay, does this have a need to exceed its reserves in any way? Or can it stay where it is? This is again why a blanket approval does not serve the community. We're going to have to balance a middle ground, and piece by piece is going to need to be the way to proceed. Just for the board, and everyone, the next step of this right now is for our senior operations manager to dig into the 40 some odd reserve items that relate to the clubhouse specifically, that are all due for replacement. Things have been delayed and deferred for years now. Looking at those items and putting them into an order of construction and how you would do things in a construction way. So again, you're not putting something in early on and then 6 months later ripping it out to fix something else. We want to make sure that we're not taking 2 steps forward, 1 step back in executing all of these reserve items. So there will be a little bit of time here for operations to lay out a clear path and then look at, okay, from a construction timeline, what should happen when, and start looking at, do those fall under reserves, or do we need to start budgeting any special assessment tally so we don't exceed the 350, 5% amount? So there will be lots of little steps to make sure, we're measuring twice and cutting once. But this information is really key in that aspect. So, any questions or comments from directors?
I mean, you may have said it already, but item by item, it will be an open session, and every director will have the responsibility to exercise their best business judgment, considering the economy and a million other factors at the time. I personally think it's a time to be careful with money.
Yeah, I will have to say that for me, a correction could be made because both of you have achieved great things for the community. But you made a comment that 548 were for A.
No, sorry. 548 is total.
548 was the total participant, 277 was for A, 227 was for B, and that you lump B and C kind of together. I would be of a different opinion. I believe that B, had the members had just 2 choices, A or C, that those members would most definitely be going for A. So I would say that more likely our members are more about saving the money and not spending the money. And so that 50-50 split is not necessarily the facts. I believe that the facts would be that they would like to see some small enhancements, like, for example, maybe a dumb waiter that would be, or moving walls around for administration better suit their needs. That would be a special assessment, that be a minimal special assessment versus a 5%. So I think that our members are a little bit smarter in the sense that they would like to see certain things done, but are not willing to jeopardize their income at this moment, especially that people are on fixed income. Great work. Yeah.
This is a great example, though, of each item needs to be approved in open session.
Exactly.
Where there is discussion around it and there is incremental accountability, so that incrementally you're tweaking directionally the whole time. And you're not just saying, woo, we're going off over here. And no one's like, no, don't do that. Come back here. Incrementally is this. Yes. So again, what we are acknowledging today, I'm not trying to lump any, percentages together.
Right.
But this should be a tool that directors use in any resolution conversation going forward. How does it tether to community input in this.
And to have the community come out in such a great force of 548 members voting in a short block. We didn't have a year of everybody knowing about this vote. This came really quickly, and 12 days. I mean, I called up all my friends. I pushed it out there, and I'm sure all the other board members did too, as well as everybody in the room. So, this really shows that there is a motivation for us to get something done, and the board better get on it. Thank you.
Can we just go around? Sure.
My cord is fully extended. I mean, just from the people that have approached me in the community, everybody, I think the consensus was, why, for this vote, why are they doing all this stuff to move around offices for employees and stuff? It doesn't seem like the members are getting much benefit. I understand about ADA compliance and stuff, but they're like, why can't we get a bigger fireplace we can all sit around, or nicer furniture, or nicer decor? I think that's generally why people are hesitant to vote for something that's gonna move the kitchen or do these other very not for the members projects. We're gonna spend a bunch of money to make employees happy. Well, I'm a member. We pay a lot of money for living up here. We want a nice clubhouse. I think that's why a lot of people voted for A. We're not gonna give more money to do something that's not gonna necessarily benefit the members.
What's great is there's nothing binding in this. This is just to know from a kind of budgetary perspective, what can your members afford and what do they want? Each item, again, has to be presented to that board, and that board has to decide, do we want to do that? There needs to be a resolution eventually to say, okay, we're, addressing all the offices. We're going to, move admin or something. Part of this falls under reserves. Part of this could be an excess of that needs to be covered. That board at that time then needs to decide, is this worth the cost? This does not lock in that. It can't lock in that. And that was the whole correction trying to make here. There can't be a blanket approval that binds the hands of the board. Each board has to individually look at, does this make sense? Does this fit our fiduciary duty? And does it align with the membership? So those are all valid pieces that, if that's a concern, to bring those concerns when those resolutions are coming up to say, yeah, maybe this isn't what we should be doing. And the board can decide at that time, yeah, we don't want to do this. Does that make sense?
I was just up like, hey, trying to do the survey, and what the heck is actually happening here? Well, do you want nice improvements like are listed, or you want just the clubhouse to stay the same? They're like, well, I'm not for adding more office space or bigger offices for people. Well, then vote for A. You don't want to do any of that stuff, vote for A.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, for sure. Mark.
Thank you. I do appreciate the work that went into this. I realize it wasn't easy. Unfortunately, I think it has limited information. Quite a few people asked me what they should be voting for because they was confused that option A said, I think a gentleman back here brought that up during members' open forum. It said limited special assessments or something to that matter. And even here it says reserve item replacement and essential improvements. And there was no cost with essential improvements. And a lot of people that I know said that they wasn't going to vote on any one of them, even though it was a good turnout. It could have been better because this reminded them of that January 2023 survey that went out that said, this is what we're going to spend. How do you want to pay for it? So I think A would have got a lot more. And I agree with Sean. I don't believe in lumping B in with C. And if we really want to do a survey or a vote, I think we could have done a lot better job with wording. That said, I realize a lot of work went into it, and I thank you.
Thanks, Mark. And again, this is the catch-22 or the rock and the hard place you're in between is there's no way to determine what that essential improvements cost would be because it's entirely based on each individual resolution going to the board. There's no way to estimate that. So to give a budget or a scope is completely disingenuous. It's not an option. Each little piece has to be approved unless you're going to contract something specifically. And usually that is a larger item with a larger dollar amount. And then you're in the member vote criteria. So yes, not an easy thing to articulate, but I'm hoping that we now understand the parameters that we need to work within so that we don't ever bite off these chunks of spending that are not actually what we want to be doing. Anyway, Nicole, I'm gonna go around the room.
Yeah, just to speak to what Mark and Sean both brought up, I initially had the same feeling that C should not be combined with B, and then upon reflection changed my mind for one reason only, and it's that Group C seems to be fine with spending anything. They want a $10 million clubhouse, so they would naturally, if only given, as opposed to Sean's example where it was limited to only A and C, if only given A and B, I assume they would choose B because it has a limited amount of spending each year. So if they're willing to spend beyond that, we can assume reasonably that they would be willing to spend that special assessment. So it's fair. We don't want to ignore almost half of our membership. If we even eliminate C, we still have almost half of our membership at 42% saying they want B. The majority is important, but we also have to factor in all of the members of our community. We need to find compromise. We need to find middle grounds. We need to see if the things we do decide on reflect the values of the whole and treat every dollar seriously, so just to clarify that. The other thing I want to say about employees' space is we need to take care of our employees as much as we can because they're hard to find. There are very few people willing to work here. We lose employees like at the drop of a hat. So, if we could do one little thing to make their day nicer so that we can maintain and retain the good employees we have, let's do it. And if it involves moving them into a room where they get more light and are not miserable all day long, they are in fact serving the members. The members would not have any of the services we have right now without the help of our employees. Ask James, he's more overloaded than any member of this board. And he has limited staff, limited resources. Ask Bob. We need to do anything we can to maintain our current employees. So I just wanted to address that. Members are not aware of how much does go on, and they would end up suffering if the people available for the events quit, or the people who are making your food quit, or drinks, you name it. They can all find jobs other places. So I believe that taking their happiness seriously is a value to the members. That's all I wanted to say.
I agree. Thank you.
Yeah, I kind of expected this outcome actually, because it comes naturally. Everybody just wants to test the water. Are they doing it okay? Let's start slow. And then maybe in a year or two, people are more likely to even vote again for B instead of A when we do a good job. Then we can, there's the things that people still want, and you're right, this is like 41 for people, they want that gym or whatever, right? Well, let's revisit this in a little bit. Let's do 1 year well, and then we revisit the whole thing,
Yeah, there will be incremental proving ground through the whole process. Doug? Any, you don't have to, but
I just agree with Nicole. If we save money, it's probably because of the employees. And if you look at the best companies to work for and the best run companies in America, there's a big overflow between how the employees look at their company and how well they do. So they're the big partners in saving money.
Any comments from the membership before we vote? Come on up.
Ron Freeman, to keep it real short. I totally agree and applaud Nicole Gates' evaluation of what those numbers mean. Thank you.
I can't believe that you're depending on a survey monkey vote. If you want to really find out what the members feel, get a real vote out there. Okay? To me, it's very simple. You are obligated by law to do certain things within this facility. That has been ignored for probably 15, 20 years. And what do? We do a survey monkey. What do the members think? 18% reported back. That's a lousy number. Really lousy. I don't see how you can vote on this. You need to go back to the drawing board and say, what do we have to do legally? And then do it. Not waste time on a monkey survey.
So all that's legally required to do is to hold an official vote if you're proposing something that's over the 5% special assessment threshold. Anything under that 5% is up to the board. So this information right now is just a tool for directors to use in executing their positions as directors to present resolutions and spend on reserves and special assessments under that 5%.
Okay, if you want to.
It's weighing the cost of, okay, do we spend another $14,000 to vote and survey for something that's within the board's purview, or do we get a temperature check on where the membership is? And if need be, if C had come back with the majority, then yes, now you have to take it to an official member vote and pay the $14,000 to do that. This is the cost-effective.
The last official vote we had cost was $15,000. Thank you.
Leslie Brenda, 3567118. I have some notes here, but I want to preface my, I want to ask if this could be either deferred or amended in the ways that I've heard some people mention, especially about notice. I have a concern that I think you guys also have this concern. We have a lot of members who are not on Facebook. They're not on email blasts. And they're not in any shape or form to be coming to these meetings. We have a lot of elderly people. How are we bridging the information that of actions that we're taking? How is that getting to them? That's a big question, I think, before we do a lot of things, including spending large amounts of money. People who have been here for 40 years but aren't represented in the meetings, are we having an outreach program for them? I mean, it's important for town hall meetings to have the whole town. And if it is that there needs transportation, why don't we consider that on a town hall night, we have a bus service? You know, we all go driving around picking people up. I know that's ridiculous to add anything here right now. It's just suggestions to open it out, that we bridge the communication immediately, making sure that all members are informed. And that's just the first part I wanted to mention. I want to jump into something also about the 30 days, even if it's a survey or even if it's anything else, if it is relied upon, if you're asking membership to read what you're providing, first, what you're providing must be detailed. And it must, so everyone has heard me in the town hall meetings and or what I feel about information being shared. So I want to preface why I also believe that this should be deferred to another meeting, because the financials have not been given to the public in terms of detailed reserve studies, expenditures, figuring out. I understand that it's hard to be detailed, but it was quite vague. And then, meaning the information for option A, I think it was 1.9 million. It was like, okay, I wanted details on that. I understand it. I'm a financial person, but I didn't know that the members understood it. So I see that they've done a lot of good work in this reserve study. I haven't seen the actual numbers. I've seen projections. And then I think it's that we don't have enough information to rely upon this survey. Then I wanted to talk about the survey because also my experience as being a statistician, there is a large number here at 16.3% were thrown out. That's a lot. 16.3% of the votes were thrown out. And that doesn't make it seem very fair. I really want to, I don't know, how much time do I have today to talk on this?
Like 2 minutes.
Okay, like in total, like how much?
2 minutes. Oh, left, you mean?
Let me just go through some of my notes
seconds.
then. Okay, so basically, again, it's a vote, even if it's an advisory vote. So it needed 30 days to inform members that this needed to occur, that this was occurring. I live out of the country. And so I want to bring up something very important. There's a lot of people who only live here part-time. This was established as like a part-timer place, it seemed, at least when I came here 13 years ago. And now we have these members are not allowed to talk unless they're physically here. That is very restrictive to our disabled and elderly community. So I want to preface something that I would like to see happen as soon as possible is to allowing people like myself who live in other places to be able to telephone in, to be able to, I mean, I asked my husband, what, are you going to stand here for me and put me up against the microphone? And he said he will. He will come here. He doesn't like coming to these places, but he will, so that I can speak, anytime I want to, because I want to. I don't like to cause trouble. I like to fix problems. And I'm very happy to mention one last thing. Spending limits. Back in October, I think you guys had a resolution brought here by Randall for spending limits approval of a resolution that was deferred. It was sent back to committee because it hadn't gone to committee about, the financial committee. So when you, and not to, in order for this to even be valid, it's based upon an approved resolution that you have in your minutes in October, I think it's 18th of 2025, but it's not true. When you look at the video, you'll notice that 2 things were approved on paper, but not from the actual words spoken in the meeting by our Treasury Director. And I don't know how that happened, but this is based on false information that has not been approved by the committee. Their spending limits could be restricted. We are not limited. 5% and 20% of the limits in terms of expenditures is based on what the standards are and what we're guided with. We can be more restrictive. We can change that 20%, which totals about $1.7 million. We don't want to see, I don't want to see, every year this board or any board being able to increase assessments $1.7 million a year. That 20% should be lowered going to our committee. I will fight for this. You don't have a right right now.
Order.
John,
I am.
John, just wait,
Point
please.
of order.
Wait,
Wanted to preface something.
Wait.
I am, yes, a member of the Financial and Budget Committee, but I'm speaking as a professional member in accounting specialty. Thank you.
So here's a couple points I want to address. First, the emails. We have over 2,500 lots represented on email. We have over 4,000 actual email addresses. That was the 2 lists that were pushed very heavily for 12 days. So in terms of reaching our membership, that is a very concerted effort. It's not just one email. It's not just on Facebook. It's not just the town halls. The 2 town hall recordings have received over 200 views. So again, the information is getting out there. There's always an improvement to reaching everyone over comms. The issue with the spending limits and the percentage caps, The 20% is relative to the operating budget. That is the yearly consumption that it takes to run the association.
What about the fact that the resolution was not passed? She's talking about something that wasn't passed.
Point of order.
The information here acknowledging how the membership would like us to be spending and how the board needs to go
Please answer
forward.
my questions.
I don't know why.
I don't know why you're giving a lecture on what you've given.
Point of order.
to Townhouse.
Sean?
Excuse me.
Enough, Sean.
Excuse me. You've interrupted our
Sean.
chair numerous.
This isn't my time.
Sean, it's
Your
enough.
time was over about 5.
It wasn't, because no
Leslie.
one called it.
Leslie, your time is done. I'm giving you a response.
You can put it in writing. We can all save the time.
Great, thank you. Any other comments on our resolution today?
And I want to talk about board behavior.
Thank you, Leslie. Leslie, do you need to be excused from the room?
I think so.
Member number,
Hold on 1 second, Paul.
thank you.
Hold on, guys. Leslie, are you listening? We're gonna address board behavior for sure, but the same applies to the members in the audience. If you would like to keep going like this, I will have patrol escort you from the room. Would you like to leave now? Thank you. Paul, sorry.
There's a lot of passion in this room, and I appreciate that. And I want to address a few things, just real quick. Candace, you put a lot of work into this effort, and it was a valiant effort. I would just be mindful that when you quote statistics, this was not a random sample size. This was a member decision to input their selection, A, B, or C. So when you quote 95% confidence with a 5% probability, that doesn't follow. You have to have a random sample size to make that assertion, okay? So let's just be honest. Most people don't know the statistics. I'm an engineer. I dealt with it all the time, okay? Second thing, I agree with Nicole. I agree with Andrea. The first thing I would say is the size of responses were far more than I expected. I would have given the over under about 250 to 300. So you got much more. The size of the invalid was large, as Leslie pointed out. It's very large. 10% of those voting had to be addressed. So I think I would ask one question. You got input right away, very fast, very helpful. 50-50, no surprise. To Sean's point, to everyone's point here, it's not a normal distribution how people feel about spending money. The high end will be a smaller portion, just as we saw in the input for C. It's not normal. It's going to need to look at the median, but we also need to look at those people that are struggling, that cannot afford it. That's the voice that Nicole, Andrea, and others have brought up. Because what's the point if we're now slicing off that bottom because they now have to move somewhere else or they have to foreclose their property? That's an important part that you guys weigh all the time. And I think the point you've made clear, there's no overwhelming population that says C is what we should be doing. So I would take that. I would also encourage.
You guys just got pantsed.
Doug, you scared the shit out of me.
It's time to start taping down these wires.
I guess we needed that
Yeah.
little point of levity here. I think you did.
least you're not in your underwear. Like on Zooms.
Oh, I don't.
Thank you all for your input. I wouldn't read too much into this, except that there's not an overwhelming push to spend a lot of money. Thank you.
Thanks, Paul.
I have a quick question. These are just numbers. Did it really need to be a resolution?
Just as acknowledgement.
But acknowledging the numbers is one thing. Making a resolution is another. And it may not have needed to be a resolution, but just giving us the information might have solved a lot of issues here. Just a thought.
It's a possibility. And what is completely on the table for my fellow directors is to vote it down. All it is an acknowledgement of the vote. If we're that displeased with the crunch between the holidays, you're welcome to vote it down and do it again. It's not, I'm just saying, if there is not a desire to accept it, it can be voted down.
Well,
Randall, last comment.
yeah, last comment. And to me, the cornerstone of the town hall is not the vote. It's the absolute clarity that neither the projects that we've been groaning over, all projects 1 through 6, or the acquisition of a building, would have made it to the board agenda if the details that Chair Bennett made crystal clear in that town hall were understood and enforced. And they are understood and enforced right now, and we will do our best to ensure that carries forward. But the most important thing is most of the issues out here, if the members focus on what can be done with reserves and what can't be done with operating funds or operating surpluses carried forward for capital projects, if that is etched in stone, we will save this board and future boards a lot of grief. These projects never would have gotten out the door. You had blanket bucket approval of reserves. Take half the cost, charge it to the reserves, take the other half and charge it to budget surpluses, which actually end up bypassing special assessments. So I like the input, but the truth is, if the board remembers and enforces these rules in open session, you're going to hear rigorous discussion on anything that comes up. Thank you. Sorry.
Okay, we'll do one last round of comments. Hold on, let's just go. I saw in the hand, Nicole's hand first.
I just want to point out to anyone who's not clear on the process that was used. First of all, the majority of eliminated votes for each section were duplicates. That means the member ID and initials were valid and they were entered more than once. Secondly, this was all done publicly by the planning committee as a group. So this was something members could have attended. They could have attended in person. They could have attended in Zoom. It was done with, I can't count really quick, I don't know, 7 people present, a group that often disagrees with one another, yet there was consensus on every single one of those items. So that was not handled by one person, by the board even. It was a public process. And again, the number one reason for removal was duplicates of valid entries that were entered more than once. I just want to point to Paul's point about the random sampling. The only way to have made this more random would have been to randomly select members from the population. And even out of that group, we're limited to who's willing to respond, right? And then every member wouldn't have had a chance to weigh in. So
Well, hold on. We're not going to.
I'm only addressing
Not doing
it.
back and forth,
We
guys.
want, that's not the way it's done with POAs and HOAs. But B, this was an opportunity for everyone's voice to be heard. And it wasn't a selected group. So yes, you're right that it wasn't like a lottery roll of, households. I understand your point. I do have a business background. But at the same time, it was not a selected group. And like I said before, if it had been a randomized sample, we would be limited to who's willing to respond the same way that we're limited to who's willing to respond every single time, including with our annual member votes, right? We're always limited to those willing to respond. I just want to make that point. I would love to increase participation. Love it. I think we all would.
Doug?
Feel naked.
I know.
The numbers, we haven't had elections we've had elections that didn't have this many responses. Number two, this is not binding on any board member. It says when you vote on something, look at what the member said. That's it. You don't have to do it. You have to exercise your own judgment, what's best for the community, and vote. And all they're all about, it's advisory.
Mm-hmm. Any other last comment, Sean? Go on.
Couple things. Number one, I want to address that. Yeah, this right here, it just shows the board the direction that the community is looking to go towards. And it's not telling the community, hey, look, we're definitely going to go after A only, and that's it. We've made our choice. That's not what this is. This was to give the board an opportunity to get the temperature of the community. Now, I personally, and I'll be very honest with you, I did take the survey and I did vote for A, because I know that this community is looking at saving a little bit more money, especially with the community that are on fixed income. That's my focus, is to help the members save as much as they can. I'm not looking for a luxurious anything. I'm not looking to enhance anything at this time. That's me as a board member. That doesn't mean that one of these other board members feels differently. Someone might say, well, you know what, Sean, I want a workout room. I don't agree right now on the workout room, but that's something that's going to happen down the road. That's number one. Number two, I would like to comment on one thing, and that's Robert's Rules of Order. When someone calls out a point of order, everything stops. No matter who's speaking, they must stop. If I have to say point of order 3 or 4 or 5 times, that's not fair to me or to the community or to the board. That has to be looked upon and it has to be addressed. I don't want to raise my voice to anyone. But when somebody's talking over another person and I can't differentiate who's talking to what, and there's an argument going on, I call out point of order. I expect the responsibility of the board to say, okay, everything stops.
Yes.
That's what I want. And for me, that's where I'm at. Thank you.
Thank you, Sean, for that reminder.
Can I
All
make
in favor?
just a quick comment?
Yes.
One other thing I really appreciate about this resolution is sort of the flip side and holding the board accountable for listening to the membership, so that if subsequent boards are making decisions that don't reflect the results of this survey, then the members have a stronger case to stand up against that. So that's something I value very much about this resolution.
Okay. All in favor of resolution 03/12/2025? Okay. Mark, are you no or abstaining?
No.
Thank you. Resolution carries.
All right. Director Randall Gates.
Give you a quick preamble before I make the motion. There's a lot of, this happens frequently at the board, and we do it often. We have placeholders. We expect something to be done in time for the board. And so this solution was placed there with the expectation that the Budget and Finance Committee would approve it in time. Not only, and they have, Committee Chair Gower has said there is sufficient members approving the audit report. However, there's insufficient time to distribute the audit report now to the directors so they have a chance to look at it before this resolution. So I am moving to defer this resolution till January so that there's sufficient time to disseminate the audit report for the directors following the committee's approval.
Second.
Thank you, Mark. Any other questions from directors? Any questions from members on deferring to January? Okay, all in favor of deferring to January, the annual audit? Okay, all in favor. Thank you. All right.
Move for a 5-minute break.
If I can interrupt.
Do we need a 5-minute break or can we hustle through? We have probably 30 to 45 minutes left here. Hustle through? Okay. No.
Oh, well, then you guys also.
She's reading APNs. She'll be a minute.
Oh, yeah.
Sean, if you can
Go.
hold on for 1 second, I would like to motion to amend the resolution 4/12/2025.
No.
Oh, sorry. Oh my gosh, sorry, wrong information. Okay, the motion to amend the, I don't know what to label it, otherwise the list of the APN numbers to temporarily remove 316-253-05001 in order to gain clarification on one billing item that I have questions on.
Second.
And actually, sorry guys, it's a little cumbersome. We're going to add on to Nicole's edits here. We had 2 APN numbers from Best Alliance that came in and paid their balances in full. And so the first APN 316-442-12009 should also be removed from today's reading. And then also 316-491-01005 should also be removed. So if Madison can proceed with reading through our usual procedure, excluding those 3 numbers, then we will vote on the amended list of APNs. She'll read slowly if you want her to run.
Okay. Good luck, Sean.
Sean, hold on, I need to amend something.
Amend to that.
All right,
Okay,
here we
Val.
go. Motion to designate Best Alliance Foreclosure and Lien Services Corp. as agent for association and hereby authorizes agent to prepare, sign, and record a notice of delinquent assessment lien and all other necessary and associated documents on association's behalf on the following APN numbers: 316-220-09003, 316-253-30003, 316-253-1400, 316-292-08005, 316-343-04004, 316-372-16001, 316-372-09001, 316-431-01007, 316-433-13006, 316-491.
Skip that one. Jump to 316-422.
Okay. 316-442-18007, 316-442-01007, 316-393-04009, 316-421-03000, 316-413-06000, 316-402-12007, 316-412-03004, 316-411-04000, 316-411-03007, and 316-411-02004.
We have a second.
Second.
Randall, thank you. If I can spell your name.
I can go.
Okay. Any questions by directors? We're all square. We're removing 3 APNs today. There were 3, yes. 2 from Best Alliance and then 1 that Nicole flagged. Okay. All in favor of the remaining APNs? Okay, thank you, everyone.
All right. Motion to approve the facility use application for Books in the Woods for use of the pavilion on the third Friday from 4 p.m. to 6 p.m. starting January 16th, 2026.
Do I have a second? Thank you, Josh. Any comments from directors? Yes, Sean.
I've been looking at this. Now, my understanding is that this is a nonprofit organization that has a nonprofit status, much like Kern Fire Safe Council, that they're requesting the use of our facilities where if it's like anything like Kern Fire Safe Council, I know that when Kern Fire Safe Council did the golf tournament, that they had certain costs that had to be paid by them to us as a community. Now this falls on a Friday, which means that the clubhouse itself has a lot of people hopefully going in and out of the bar, the restaurant, things like that. And now we're asking for our employees to set up, break down another room, have to clean up that room, have to do their job again on that one. Is there going to be a cost accrued by that? Is this nonprofit organization going to reimburse the HO or the POA for those costs incurred for cleanup and for the time spent from our employees? Because that, to me, sounds like it's something that should be done. I don't. I believe that, for me, at this time, I am not fully convinced that a nonprofit organization has a right just to walk in once a month, do whatever they're doing, walk out, and then we have to clean up after that. I think that there has to be maybe some kind of contract with that nonprofit organization.
James, do you want to speak to that at all, of how we handle facilities?
The facility application process includes a rate sheet for any items that they would require that would have a cost. So I don't foresee any problems. They're entitled to use the facility just as any other 401. 401, sorry. Nonprofit, a 401k stuck on my mind.
501.
But yeah, I'd have to look into the details, but we're always going to try and cover our costs. I don't have the details. I don't know all the rates and things that can be charged to any club or nonprofit, but it's been provided, and as long as we cover our costs, I don't foresee any problems.
I just want to point out, Sean, that on the application, it lists that they are requesting to use the pavilion. As you mentioned, the
Oh, I meant, well, I was talking about on Friday night.
Yes, so they would
Condor room is pretty.
They would be in the pavilion from
Right, and
4
so they
to
have-
6. From 4 to 6.
Yeah.
Okay.
I do understand. I'm sorry, I do understand that.
Okay.
I'm saying that that's another, employees will have to clean that room and set it up and break it down. Those are, especially since the Saturday morning, third Saturday morning of every month, the board has their meeting. So Friday night, these people, they're going to have their thing, and then we're going to have our thing. And I believe what I'm trying, I don't know if there's a cost occurred if a member wants to use the facility for certain things that we like the knitting group or the quilting group. We don't charge them.
Yeah, the clubs.
You're right, the clubs, we don't, so I think that this is a different kind of situation. And if it isn't, then you don't have and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, Mark's not here, but his concern was we didn't have a list of members that were on this, in this, I don't want to say club, I don't know. It's
Yeah, they submitted their application. They are 2/3 members, and they qualify.
Okay, on my thing, it said 90% of the members. Well, I'm just telling you what it said in my book. So, it was just very confusing to me. And you're saying that it falls in the guidelines that 2/3 of the members are in the club. That means 1/3 is not. It's not a club though. It's a nonprofit.
Yeah.
So being a nonprofit, that falls into a different realm, I believe.
So perhaps I can offer some clarification as
Lauren, hold on though. We haven't opened it up to members yet. Hold on. Where I think a more appropriate kind of example or comparison is the Kern Fire Safe Council. Because we, again, don't know how many of them are members versus not. And we don't have a criteria for facility use to have a certain number of members in the head count. That's for clubs. Clubs is 30% non-member, roughly to 60% member. So there's that. Doesn't really answer your question.
Yeah, are we going to make this a club?
I don't think the plan is to right now. It's just for the nonprofit to meet here once a month. That's what we're approving.
And so what I'm saying is, for me to vote yes for that, I would have to see some kind of numbers that they're going to be, associated with the costs that we occur, that they will reimburse us for those costs.
That's fine. Hold on, Lauren. Let me just get to everyone here. Josh.
Is this club associated with, Books in the Woods is the business,
It's a nonprofit. It's not a club.
Nonprofit.
right, not profit, but they have a storefront
No.
in the village.
Here, we're going to pause and let Lauren offer some clarity on what this is.
I'm a little lost here.
Yeah, Books in the Woods is a 501c3 organization. We do not have a storefront in the village. We used to use one of the village merchants' location for our meetings once a month. It worked out that became not great for the business or for us because she was open for business and people would walk in and they'd walk out. We were having our meetings. Books in the Woods is a 501c3. It has a mission to promote literacy amongst underserved, particularly children, but other people. In addition, it administers the writing group, which meets monthly. There's about, I don't know, maybe 15 of us. You never know who's going to show up, right? Maybe 10, maybe 15, maybe I've been there where there have been more, but mostly 10 to 15 people. The vast majority, with only one exception that I can think of, are members of PMC. So similar to PMC allowing, for instance, Boy Scouts of America or the Kern Fire Council, both 501c3 organizations, to have a meeting place, that would be the best example other than a club, because we're not organized as a club of PMC, we're organized as a 501c3, and this is a charitable organization using a facility. This is what our meetings look like. Bunch of writing nerds sit around with our computers or our notebooks, and we read to each other what we have written that month, and we comment on each other's writing. Sometimes folks will bring a water bottle. We don't have refreshments. We don't bump over the chairs. I'm assuming the application says something about if you destroy, you're going to be responsible if you destroy the room. But that's, there's really no setup required. We just need a place where we don't have people walking in and walking out. And, you know, again, it's awkward for the people who are walking in and walking out, wondering what's going on. And it's awkward for us because we're reading our, you know, our writing of the month. So Sean, does that help? Do you have other, or Josh, can I answer other questions?
Ronnie, when you say that you don't need anything. Sorry. You can say you don't need anything, but you do need tables, you do need chairs, you do, I mean, there are.
Those are standing,
basic-
they're constantly set up in the room.
Yeah, there is a
It's not being
constant-
broken down.
There's no special setup required.
Any other, Doug?
So you just share the name. You have nothing to do with the business, correct? Books in the Woods.
I'm not sure what you mean by business. The Books in the Woods is a 501c3, and we have a board. I'm on the board for disclosure of Books of the Woods. We have a mission to promote literacy.
But the store and the
I think what you might be thinking of
Well,
is
I'm
the
not-
bookstore.
You guys are separate.
We totally
We are
separate.
separate, yeah.
We were using that space, and frankly, would continue. However, what was happening is we meet Fridays at 4:00. That store is open. Has nothing. We're not related to the store. We were just using the space. Customers would walk in, and we're all sitting around reading to each other, and the customers would be like, "It's confusing for the customers." So it was not great for the business, and it wasn't great for us because we didn't like people coming in, and you know. So we needed a space where we didn't have people coming and going. That's basically what we need. A table is helpful, not necessary. Chairs would be necessary.
I think the cost is minimal. Your members, like, we got to stop beating this horse.
Yeah,
and
Thank
vote.
you. Yeah.
Yes. Any other board comments? Any member comments besides Lauren? Carolyn has a comment. Share the mic, ladies.
So I'm listening to this, and it sounds more like tit for tat, because I can't do something, somebody else shouldn't do something. The clubhouse is one thing, and it does charge. The pavilion is used for all sorts of members, and they could have called it a club, but it's not. And it's not a lot. It's like Douglas said, the chairs and the table are there. They're always there. If they want to make it a circle, they'll put the tables in a circle and they'll put it back. It's not a matter of extra cost. But this tit for tat stuff that keeps going on with the board, and it's happened in my board, is frustrating. They just want a place to sit down and do their reading to each other. What's the problem? Really, that's my thinking. What is the problem?
Agreed. Again, we've seen very few of these facility use agreements. And I think maybe there's a little bit of a gun shy approach of like, what are we agreeing to? What's being asked? You know, so I don't begrudge anyone asking questions for clarity in their vote. I think we're good. Are we square? Yes, Josh.
I would motion. Well, I would make an adjustment on this and just do it as temporary to see how it goes and see if it works out. Works out for like more long term, but just put a blanket agreement with them. Doesn't seem advisable.
Do we have any kind of, like, what exists for cancellations? Like for,
Isn't it month to month anyway? If they do something like,
like, I don't think there's any issue with the association coming back and saying, this isn't working. Yeah, I don't think we need to add another step to this. Okay, all in favor of allowing Books in the Woods once a month in the pavilion? Okay, so let me just run my count here. Mark is out of the room. What's your name again? I got it. Sean is abstaining. Okay. Everyone else is in favor. Thank you. I, from day one, was like, why are the name tags out there? They need to face the chair. Okay. Thank you, everyone. Motion passes.
Okay. Information and correspondence. We received the environmental control recap for the month of October 2025 and patrols recap for the month of November 2025. The board received 14 items of correspondence. Okay. Directors Forum. Me first for Bear Committee. Have a lot of updates. So first and foremost, I want to give a shout out to our Bear Committee members because they continue to persevere against significant negative attention from the community. Our volunteers are very dedicated to trying to improve the relationship between our community and the Bears. So they're working very hard, and we do get a lot of flack. So I wanted to just acknowledge all of them right now. We also, I'm so excited. Thank you to the maintenance team and Bob. We have some new bear signs that we'll be installing soon around town that will hopefully serve as a reminder for everyone, whether you live here or you're visiting or whatever the case may be, that we live with bears and that you should not feed them on purpose or an accident. We have also chosen a bear ambassador, and next month we'll hopefully present that person. And again, this is a fully volunteer position for now, and the person has agreed to do the work. So we're going to work out how to make that really feasible for the POA and see if it's effective or not. And then we also had our unit biologist, who is the biologist assigned to our area. Her name is Abigail Gwynn. She attended our last bear meeting and she was very supportive of the work that our committee is doing. We also had patrol there, Patrice specifically, so that we were all just able to collaborate and ensure that what our committee is doing is on the same page as Fish and Wildlife, and it is. And then this is a really wild thing, but last night I got a call. I didn't pick it up because who picks up numbers they don't know? But I got a call at 5:30 p.m. last night, Friday night, from someone at Kern County something roads, and I have been harassing them for a lot, like 6 months, to get more wildlife crossing signs along the highway and more signs about bears and not feeding bears along the highway. And that's who called me last night, finally. And so I'll be calling him back ASAP, maybe Monday, because I'm probably not going to get out of here in an appropriate amount of time. But that's very exciting. So hopefully I will be able to pursue that. I think that's it.
Awesome.
Yeah. Thank you. Okay. Who's next? Director Randall Gates for Budget and Finance.
Left the room on break. Wait a minute. Here he is. Make sure I have the right committee here. Yeah, Budget and Finance. The last formal meeting was on November 12th. There was a scheduled meeting on November 25th. And so, I'm sorry, the committee's dark for the meeting for December, as previously mentioned. However, after the meeting on the 12th, there was a meeting with the auditor via Zoom for the committee to ask questions. And that meeting was adjourned. Age-related. That meeting was adjourned without a vote to approve. Subsequently, on Chairperson Gower on November 26th sent a revised audit report for email vote by the members to approve. And she informed me that they had sufficient votes to approve the audit report to go forward, but that was basically yesterday, which is why I didn't distribute the audit report yet to the members, and I deferred the resolution until next month. So other than that, we were dark, and we will convene again in January.
Thank you. Director Bennett for Communications.
Communications was dark in December, but just to give a quick website update, we have a web developer contractor who's in building out the site map of both our .net and .org so that we can see what exists and where it exists, and has built a recommended new site map for our North Star upgrade. So that is now with North Star, and they will start building out the skeleton structure of the new website. At a later date, once that's ready, that would come to the board for the directors to poke around and walk through a new site and give feedback on what's included where and the structure and what's forward facing versus what's member login facing. So that will come to the board in steps. And we are still on schedule with North Star to release a new website at the end of Q1 of 2026. So that's our latest there.
All right, thank you. Directors Coulter and Armin for emergency preparedness.
Yeah. Well, quite a few things have happened now. I'll first make the comment that earlier a board member had made mention that there was not a lot of participation from this board to the pancake meeting. That was amazing. There was it looked to me over 100 people showed up. I brought my wife at that time because she really wanted to try to get engaged in the community. She hasn't been at the height of her health at the moment, but she did make a concerted effort to go. And I was very honored and proud to bring her to that pancake breakfast. Unfortunately, I did have to take her back home, else I would have been there the whole time. The speakers were amazing. The emergency preparedness has been doing so much great work, and bringing just the focus on what we need to do as a community is just been so enlightening for all of us. Now, with emergency preparedness isn't just one little committee. I mean, we have EP, we have CERT, we have Radio Network, we have Red Cross. I mean, there are so many things going on for this community that the engagement has, in my opinion, been going up and up and up. And I am just so proud that they've allowed me to be a part of, a small part, but a part of their community. And so I do know that we will be dark. CERT will also be dark in December. But, you know, CERT did hold a snow chain installment, and Ace Hardware was there to help support us with that. The pancake disaster event in November was so well attended, and the speakers were amazing. And I just look forward to seeing even more engagement next year. So for me, this has just been really a great time. And I know that the following event summaries were printed in the Condor as well as in the Mountain Enterprise. They're stepping into into helping us get the word out as well. So, you know, supporting our local businesses, especially in the holidays, is important to us too. You know, it was mentioned earlier today, and I can't really, you know, I can't speak about it yet, but I will tell you that I personally got all my Christmas presents across the street for this year. And I encourage everyone to do that. I'm very upset that we're losing Candace right now. You know, she has kept us in line. She has kept us more like a family. And I would encourage her to maybe, I understand if she wants to step down as chair, but I would truly would be remiss if I didn't say that maybe she could consider staying on the board, working with the communications committee as the liaison, and taking less and still be here with us, because she really is a major focus in the next generation of our community. I'm heartbroken. And I know family's so important. And I know her 3 children are so important to her and her husband and to their grandfather. I just would like to be selfish and have her with us as well. Okay.
Thank you, Sean. Director Schoening for Environmental Control.
Just a small meeting we had. Now I'm thrown off. Deck cover, solar, and fence variants. I was actually at the 3rd pancake breakfast the whole time and bought 2 radios. It's awesome.
Nice.
Yeah.
Radio for every house.
Nobody saw me, but I was there.
Okay. General Manager Williams for Family Resource Ad Hoc Committee.
Okay, Family Resource Committee, Leslie is the only current member. Well, Mel Weinstein just applied, so now we have 2 members. Thankfully, looking for a third, desperately looking for a third member so we can start on the charter and all the great things I know that committee is going to do for the community. It's important, and that's where we're at on that. So a little progress, a little more progress needed. And that's it.
Thank you. Director Randall Gates for Governing Documents.
The last meeting was December 9th. And I'll just cut to the new business. We've already discussed 14.1 and 14.2 that has been proposed and passed. They reviewed that. Mark Greco had some excellent comments. Business policy F19 is interesting. This is where we go down and list all the things the annual budget committee works on, how it's interrelated. Beth had a great observation because one of our bylaws that's perennially amended and not corrected because they don't get the required votes actually has us mailing out to every member a pretty much 1-page summary budget, which for as long as history here I could determine has always been posted in the Condor and available through Gmail. I mean, to have that mailed is a ridiculous expense technically. And so I have for January a proposed amendment into bylaw 10.03, which would then correct this to what our policy has been pretty much forever. So I want to have the 2 done at the same time because I can't really have F19, the annual budget process, up for amendment when it contradicts an existing bylaw. So it has to come second in January. You know, got everything, get the ducks in the right, not in a line, but also in order. So again, a good discussion. I think her running of the committee is excellent. Investment policy, Andrew Jones shared with me his AI analysis, and I have made some adjustments, and that'll be on January's agenda as well. It's just basically going through what investment policies. It's nothing new. It's just clarifying what insured cash sweeps are and basically minimal risk. Pretty much negates any need for external advisors where there's no authority to do anything that will require a investment advisor to structure things where, you know, interest-bearing preferreds, anything with market risk won't be available. So, and the bistro bylaw, I resurrected that because just because of 1402, we had an amendment prepared by the members in 2017 It said bistro's got to break even. And then it was parenthetically amended in, I think, 2018, I forget the date, to say, well, we're not going to amend it. It was left there. Well, not amending it, and leaving it in limbo is technically an amendment, but it was never, the members were never allowed to weigh in. It was never given visibility and proper discussion. So that's ongoing. The request was for legal advice, and my point is I'd like to see the committee do the best depth and breadth of analysis, because there's a lot of CC&Rs that were raised back when the bistro bylaw was put into limbo, and I said we need to have really an opportunity for knowledge and experience base of the committee to weigh in before we involve legal. Otherwise, what's the committee for? We just dump the goat. And also there's an interesting, and I hope this will be discussed at the next governing docs meeting. There's a lot of departments here that aren't amenities that are mandated by the CC&Rs. The post office, the cafe, patrol. I mean, and so I want the process to proceed where we really critically look at not only what they were doing with the bistro, but how does that affect other similar operations in the whole association? And also, maybe you did reduce the bistro. Well, how does that affect the lounge? What's the collateral impact of a decision? So I understand the emotion back in 2017. This was in response to the Taj Mahal and all those other expenses. But we're going to take the time to do it right. And basically, it's been given visibility. But at this point, I'd like to see it explored and documented. What are the governing documents that regulate these budgetary items? Are there similar items? We can't pick out one. We can't have selective enforcement. So we got to look at it from a big picture. So again, it's a good discussion, and hopefully at the next meeting, we can continue it. Other than that, that's the highlights.
Very great. Thank you.
Greens and Grounds was dark this month.
Okay.
It was Mark's note.
All right, Director Coulter and Armin for Kern Fire Safe Council.
Okay. Well, the first thing I would really like to encourage the board or the members of our community to do is to go to kernfiresafe.org and register for the Firewise USA. We have a sheet right here, and now I personally, what I did was I had one of the Fire Safe Council, Kern Fire Safe Council, come to my home and do the walk around with me to show me what needs to be done. And I will tell you right now, it was George, our accountant. He's part of the Kern Fire Safe Council, and he was really showing exactly what needs to be looked at, take photos, things of the nature. Now, when you are registering for the Firewise, be a Firewise home and be a Firewise community, it's up to the member, whether they want to have someone come to their home and look around and give them the advice, and the report will be filed to them and everything like that, or they could just take this document and do it themselves and submit it themselves. This is, we're all adults here. And if you want to know if your house is fire safe and Firewise, all you have to do, you can register online. You can take the document itself, take some photos of your house, put down everything here that you think is right and what you think is wrong, submit it, and you're part of the Firewise community. This is not about an attack or having somebody fine you or have somebody come to your house that you don't want in your house. They don't even come into your home. It's not about in-home. This is about making sure that your property is safe from fire. And so I'm again going to encourage the community, that we must be a fire-wise community. I have gotten about a dozen homes on my block that are doing it. So I'm thinking that my block might be the first fire-wise community in all of this mountain range. That means everywhere. Now, that's kind of crazy to me, thinking that we're in the heart of the Los Padres National Forest. And after 25 years of me living here, 26 years now, I'm going to be the first to be on get a Firewise certificate. In this arena, no, this is silly. So I am going to, again, and every month I'll tell you, I would love to see more and more involvement from the community to become Firewise, and you will get a discount on your insurance. Just call them up, ask them, hey, what's my discount if I have a Firewise certificate? They will tell you. I know that California Fair Plan, they'll give you like a 10% discount off of your fire insurance. Might not be a lot to some. It's a big chunk to me. That's a few $100 a month. So please look into it. Get involved with it. It's an important part of our community. And that's, have a beautiful, beautiful holiday season, and I will see you guys next year.
Thanks, Sean.
Thank you. Director Nicole Gates for Planning Committee.
The committee was tasked with identifying votes to be flagged for the advisory vote / survey, categorizing them into 3 groups: duplicates, invalid member ID, or a mismatch with initials. And the committee, first of all, did everything they could to include as many votes as possible. And then beyond that, there was additional cross-checking to be done to include as many from that group. And I want to thank all the committee members who attended, because there were hopes of going dark for December. Everyone missed Christmas in the Village, every single one of us. So I really appreciate everyone who showed up, because it really was just an act of service, to make sure that this was done as a group and publicly and with care. So thank you.
Thank you. Director Wild for Mil Potrero Mutual Water Company.
The last time it was dark and recited poetry, and it's also dark now. So I was going to read Dylan Thomas's Child's Christmas in Wales. It only takes about 15 minutes. Or I could sing the Chicago Bears fight song. I can't sing. And I have nothing to report.
Thanks, Doug.
Okay, General Manager Williams for Pine Mountain Club Commercial Property Owners Association.
Okay, at the last meeting, Bob and I attend those meetings regularly now. I think the 3rd one now. Clarice Smith stepped down as the chair. She resigned as chair. Marla Antonoro, the vice, is acting chair. They discussed several things. One of their main topics was the internet, Discover PMC Network Internet. It was created solely by Carl Reese, member and also business owner in the district. So he's done a lot of work for the network and the wireless network in the village, and it's a benefit for all the merchants, all the businesses, to be able to have guests and outside visitors and everyone to be able to have Wi-Fi access, and they use that data, and it allows them to kind of know the traffic and how they kind of weigh the number of folks that are in during events. They kind of manage that data. It kind of helps them understand. So they were discussing how to maintain that network. Carl Reese is, I think he's moving. I don't remember, Bob, but I think he's handing that network and what he's been doing on his own. He's handing it back to the commercial district board to manage. So they discussed some of the things that they're contemplating on how to manage it, when it's down, how to restore it. So working through that. Other things they were talking about, the events, plans and events for the upcoming year. They also mentioned a proxy seat at their board. I wasn't 100% sure. I'm in conversation with Marla on that, so I can understand what that does to my schedule and what it entails. But other than that, that's all I got for that.
Just to clarify, were they inviting you to be in a proxy?
I think so.
Okay.
But I didn't answer.
Yeah, you're like, not it, not
I just
it.
got backed off. But no, I just want to understand. I mean, I want to be involved with everything that's going on. I mean, we are partnering somewhat. I mean, we are moving some of our merchandise through some select folks in the village, and I want to continue that for sure. But any event, I want to be involved. I want to be a player in what the community is being offered, and I want to pop up if we do Oktoberfest and everything. I mean, we want to partner up, and it's so far so good. We're having some good meetings, and I look forward to just maintaining that relationship.
Thank you. Members Rebuttal Forum. The Members Rebuttal Forum is a 10-minute period that follows the Directors Forum, offering members the opportunity to briefly respond to any matter raised by a director. Each speaker will be given up to 1 minute to share their thoughts. Members wishing to speak are kindly asked to step to the microphone, address the board chair, and state their name, tract, and lot number for the record. While the board might not respond immediately, all comments will be respectfully noted.
Leslie Branda, 5637118. In response to just a couple things on the meeting minutes, I see that I'm not added to the governing docs. My application was accepted, and then it was put on waiting list so that I would be open next for when it is available. So I'd like to have the records reflect that I have an application. And I thought that those things would go through. There was one person on there, and I don't remember in this meeting if we saw you guys vote on.
It was in the consent agenda, so Mel's and the consent calendar voted together.
So can we have you redo that with me on there?
We don't vote and approve membership when there is not a place open. The application is with the office.
That's not what Gail has informed me about Clifford and why I didn't get the position, is that he had an application approved on hold waiting, so that when I applied, his application was put forward. It was on hold and waiting. So
we had a group there at the beginning, all bundled together. It was unclear that
so
there was
if I only have a minute, I need to also address some other things.
That was the minute.
And actually, if I could get back the 20 seconds, the financial report is not actually accurate. We did have a meeting with the auditors. It was not that it was adjourned with no vote. We voted the audit by Griffin and all 3 drafts down. We voted it down. And I'd like the minutes to reflect that, because that is what occurred.
Are those the minutes of that meeting from the Budget and Finance Committee?
We're talking about the audit.
I know.
Financial audit.
And for
with
that
Griffin.
meeting, your audit meeting, there should be minutes from the Budget and Finance Committee that acknowledge that vote.
I think we should meet in closed session for this, perhaps, because there was a vote, but yet there was no notice that there was a vote. We were actually, if you look at our meeting minutes from the prior month, we actually stated that we would have a meeting with the auditor. But it was to review the specific words, because it was done by AI, so it just captured everyone's words. And it was done to say that we'll have a review, but when we arrived at the meeting, we were forced upon a vote without And I had concerns because there were litigation issues involved. I didn't see that it would be a viable solution for our organization to put out such information to the public. And there were other concerns, big ones, mostly that Randall had already put forth years ago. So I didn't realize it until, that he was pushing a vote, but it did happen. And so we did vote, and we voted against the audit. Not did we adjourn without a vote. Also, the dark. All of my committees have gone dark this month to keep me quiet, and I just will keep showing up. But I needed also on the minutes to reflect for the governing docs. I did attend, but the governing docs minutes does not have me listed on there as a guest. And I think I was just about to check it when you guys called for us to talk. So I believe that I'm not included, and I do think that I should be, even though I didn't have anything to say. I was there.
Then we can check that.
Yeah, no,
Okay.
the minutes of the governing docs have been amended to show you as a guest.
Oh, good. I did call that in. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
All right.
Anyone else in members?
Happy holidays to everyone.
Thank you, Leslie.
Ron Freeman, briefly, James's report of, about the downtown business associations. I believe since we own a building there now that we are automatically a member of that group. Secondly, Candace, extremely disappointed in your decision. Was wondering if you could briefly address what the process is for selecting a new chairman and 2, for selecting your replacement on the board. Thank you.
Absolutely. At this time, I'll address it at the end. We'll take anything and I'll.
Real quick, Paul Mobley, 3402307. James, thanks for the update on the village. I did speak to many village proprietors about trying to get some signs along Askin for safety reasons, visibility. Again, that's a 25-mile-an-hour speed limit, kids walking at the park. We'd need to get some support from the GM now that we can do that. Again, signs are not that expensive. It will help that. Andrea, you mentioned the variance was shot down by the EC associated with some specific thing. I talked to the EC, what's his name?
Joe.
Joe, yeah, thank you. Appreciate that. To get a variance for putting a storage unit, the member has to put forward $1,000 for a survey from neighbors within that residence to approve it. The $1,000 is non-refundable. I'm questioning if a member puts up a violation, the fines associated with that violation goes on the property, whatever. They may be circumventing fees that are used to, whatever the fees used for to pay the salaries for those people making that survey for the local neighborhood. Is there other fees associated with making variances besides, putting up a storage unit? If variances for color of your house, variances for et cetera. Are there any obligations by membership to make those fees? I'll just ask that.
So most of the fees goes into the mailing to the neighbors. This is a standard process that, planning department does too. And, to get feedback from the neighbors, from everybody. I know exactly the radius, to be honest. I will look it up. And you can do it for basically anything. If you're successful is another thing, right? Because variances are only considered when you have hardship, when there's real hardship. Like usually it happens when you, for example, want to reduce your front yard setback and all your neighbors have already a variance that was approved 30 years ago. So you have a good chance to getting that variance, right? But it's hardship. It has to be extremely unfair that you can't get that. It shouldn't be a blanket thing to just get what you want.
There is a cost associated with pursuing that.
Yeah, I was quoted $1,000 for a storage unit.
It's the process that costs money. It's the
So for example, when I bought my house, I did not know that the color was not of the matching colors until I requested to paint that house.
That's not a variance, so you just make an application with the AC committee and they review it and approve or don't approve.
It took 3 months to get it done, but yeah, fine.
Yeah, that's just because.
So my question is,
Everything takes
since I did get it approved, there's no documentation except for the meeting minutes for the next owner for the house.
There is actually a file that AC has. It has a file with your paint color on it.
Okay.
It's in there, and they never throw anything away.
So I don't have to pay $1,000.
No. Thanks, Paul.
Unless you want.
Sean?
I'm sorry, Paul. I'm going to address a concern that I now have. This is the first time, now, I guess I've lived here 26 years. This is the first time I've ever heard that we'd have to put out $1,000 to see if a member could have a storage thing in front of their house. And in fact, because I had to do it, Joe told me, hey, look, you need to come down and pay $50 and get the plans, and then once you build it, I'll come and look at it. I'll reimburse you back $25. This is the first time I've ever heard of $1,000 hit on our members for a storage unit. Maybe we could have
Joe, do you want to
There it
come?
is.
Hold on.
And that's what I was just going
Yeah.
to say. Maybe we
If
could have
Joe,
Joe come and talk on this.
do you mind giving us just a very brief rundown on the $1,000 that's involved in a variance request?
Absolutely. So to get a variance, you would approach the environmental office. It costs $100 to file for it. That's for office work and also the additional work that the board does to review the matter. And then the requester is required to pay for postage to notify all of the neighbors within 300 feet of the proposed variance.
And just to enlighten me, what is considered a variance?
So when a member wishes to, I don't know what's the proper term, bend or break a rule, and they feel that they need to do that, that's when they would approach me, and they would propose that. I would certainly let them know that what the process is, that I certainly cannot speak for the board, nor can anybody. So I cannot guarantee whether a variance will be granted or not. It first goes to the environmental committee. They go out, they review the site and the request for the variance. The committee will then make a recommendation to the board, but it is up to the board for a final determination. In the meantime, we do keep track of, we're in charge of sending out all of the letters to the properties within 300 feet. And we keep track of all of the responses that we get in regards to that. Not sure. Have I answered your question?
You have, and do you find that the $1,000 is an average price for doing something of this nature?
So again, it's just $100 plus the postage. Now it depends where you're at. If you're in a high density area, surely there'll be more properties to send notification letters to.
So the $1,000 is not a,
No, I can think of like the recent one we did, I think there was $300 in postage. But it's reasonable because that's not an expense we would normally incur.
Right.
That's why it's asked of the member who wishes to get the variance.
Great. Thank you, Joe.
Merry Christmas.
Any other member rebuttal items before we wrap things up today? Okay.
Okay. Adjournment. In the November 15th, 2025 executive session at 8:30 a.m., the following was discussed. We discussed one, litigation or potential litigation. We discussed 4 contracts. We discussed and approved 4 forbearance agreements. We discussed lien requests for Exhibit 1A1. We had 3 hearings. We didn't discuss any appeals, and we discussed 1 personnel issue. The next regular open board meeting will take place on January 17th, 2026 at 10 a.m. in the Condor Room. Happy holidays.
We have a
Motion to adjourn.
and a second. Randall.
Randall.
Okay. Thank you, everyone. Have a lovely holiday season.
Holiday.
Oh, no, sorry. Oh my goodness.
Wait.
I'm sorry. No, I owe Rob an explanation for how they replace a director. Sorry, guys. I'm really hungry right now. This many months out from a standard election, the board has the determination right now to appoint someone to sit in those 6 months. It's my understanding that that person can also then run again for a proper 3-year term. They're not excluded from that, but it would need to be, they would need to run. It wouldn't be an automatic thing. So at this point now, the board needs to determine who they will appoint to the board and vote on that. There is an option to maybe accomplish that before the 31st. And at that point, I believe I would participate or at least run the meeting. I wouldn't vote because I would still be chair. But if it were to happen after the 31st and in the new year, I would not be on the board. And there would need to be, the vice chair holding that meeting, and then the remaining 7, sorry guys, would vote to appoint a new director. And at that point, then also to vote into who is chair, whether it's vice that moves up to chair or some other configuration discussed amongst the board. Carolyn. Can you come to the mic for a hot second? No worries.
I understand that the vice chair does step in when the chairperson is unavailable, but it's my understanding that the board still has to vote on a new chairperson.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah,
thank
she
you.
just runs that meeting.
And to get it going. Great, thank you.
Thanks, guys. Happy holidays, everyone.
Say that with